Chapter 105. Feng Yao immediately knew what Wang Tianjue was thinking when she saw that he couldn't move his eyes away. Although she did not want to have anything to do with Wang Tianjue, she had a grudge against Lu Yuan. Wang Tianjue was attracted to Lu Yuan's beauty, which infuriated Feng Yao. Wang Tianjue, it turns out that your words are nothing more than a fart. Feng Yao sneered. Junior sister Feng Yao, please don't misunderstand. Wang Tianjue turned around and laughed. The lunar fragment is the most important thing now. We could talk about the rest in the future. How about that? Of course, he knew that he, Wang Tianjue, would never be able to marry someone like Lu Yuan. As a collateral disciple of the Wang family in the imperial city, it was already good enough that he could marry a beautiful girl like Feng Yao, who had the talent to condense a true spirit. One day, when Feng Yao condenses her true spirit and marries him, Wang Tianjue, his status in the Wang family will rise by quite a bit. Even in the imperial city, those who condensed a true spirit were considered talented experts. They would also have a high status in a large family like the Wang family. Therefore, Wang Tianjue could not let Feng Yao escape. Humph. Feng Yao snorted coldly and did not say anything else. However, she was thinking to herself, talk about it in the future? If she believed Wang Tianjue, she would be the biggest idiot in the world. Cousin. At this moment, Lu Yuan looked at Feng Yao with a faint smile. Why are you still holding on to what happened when you were young? I've already apologized to you several times. That's right, junior sister Feng Yao. Since senior sister Lu Yuan has apologized to you, let's forget about what happened when we were young. Wang Tianjue said happily. Who do you think you are? Why are you calling me junior sister? Why don't you take a look at yourself first? Xianyaya, another disciple of the Qingchong Pavilion who was standing beside Lu Yuan, sneered. She hated philandering young masters like Wang Tianjue the most. When she heard Wang Tianjue call Lu Yuan senior sister, she immediately mocked him. Wang Tianjue's face darkened. He glanced at Xianyaya and said, everyone has to pay for what they say. What price do you think you can give me? Xianyaya said with disdain. All right, Yuya, there's no need to bother with unrelated people. Rumble. Lu Yuan said softly and stopped Xianyaya from continuing. The lunar fragment was about to appear. Even Lu Yuan did not want to complicate matters. No matter what, she had to obtain the lunar fragment. However, in the next moment, a deafening wolf howl came from outside the mine. Then, a huge wolf condensed from Inshi descended from the sky. It jumped down from the mountain walls around the mine and landed in the center of the mine. It's the Blue Wolf Emperor. Everyone cried out in alarm. Among them, 2 experts at the 9th stage of the martial Dao were instantly crushed by the giant Azure Wolf Emperor. He didn't even have time to scream before he died on the spot. It has indeed appeared. The 3rd layer of the true spirit's secret realm, the Ash Wolf Emperor. Lu Yuan's beautiful eyes lit up. She had long guessed that such an Ash Wolf Emperor would appear. It seemed that her guess was right. Every time the lunar fragment appeared, an Ash Wolf Emperor would appear. It possessed the terrifying strength of the 3rd layer of the true spirit's secret realm to prevent others from stealing the lunar fragment. 5 years ago, when Mo Fengming of the Xiang clan was fighting for the lunar fragment, the Ash Wolf Emperor also appeared. At that time, many people died in the hands of the Ash Wolf Emperor. But this time, as soon as the King of Blue Wolves appeared, it directly crushed 2 martial cultivators. Huofu, Lu Yuan, flowers don't wither. Seeing this, Bai Heng frowned slightly. Then, with a shout, he held the spirit-grade combat weapon in his hand and gracefully attacked the huge Ash Wolf Emperor in an instant. The Ash Wolf Emperor's strength had reached the 3rd layer of the true spirit's secret realm. Apart from the 4 experts, no one else could withstand it. If the 4 of them did not work together, everyone would definitely be torn to shreds by the Ash Wolf Emperor. The discussion between the 4 experts just now had touched on this aspect. If a stronger enemy appeared, the 4 of them would have to work together to ensure that the lunar fragment would not fall into the hands of unrelated people. For example, if an expert from an enemy country appeared, or if the Ash Wolf Emperor appeared 5 years ago. Now that the Ash Wolf Emperor had appeared, the four of them were shocked. Then, with Baihang's Heaven's Might Sword technique as the lead, they attacked the Ash Wolf Emperor from four directions. Before the four of them could react, another two people died under the terrifying strength of the Ash Wolf Emperor. They were smashed into meat patties by its claws. Their deaths were miserable. It was only when Baihang took the lead and executed the Heaven's Might Sword art with his spirit-grade combat weapon longsword that he was finally able to barely block the Blue Wolf Emperor. However, it was impossible for him to be the Blue Wolf Emperor's opponent by himself. Luckily, Lu Yuan wielded the Scarlet Dagger with both hands. With a white flash, she appeared beside the Ash Wolf Emperor in the blink of an eye. Flowing light, sword, shadow, Lu Yuan shouted. Her slender figure under the black clothes seemed to be wrapped by the flowing light of the white sword shadow. Her whole body turned into a flowing light sword shadow and instantly bombarded the side of the Blue Wolf Emperor. This flowing light sword shadow was not only extremely fast, but its power was also terrifying to the extreme. Long Yu hid in a dark corner and observed the situation. If he were to face Lu Yuan's attack, he would have no other way but to suppress her with the heaven-suppressing field. He wouldn't even have the time to execute the Dark Dragon Leap. Unfortunately, the Ash Wolf Emperor's strength had reached LV3 of the True Spirit's secret realm. The True Spirit Wolf Claw condensed from Yin Qi appeared behind it and easily blocked Lu Yuan's attack. Raging flame explosion. Huofu's body was covered in flames. Wave after wave of flames bombarded the other side of the Ash Wolf Emperor, causing the Yin Qi on that side to explode. However, right after that, the phantom of the True Spirit Wolf Claw swept over. In an instant, a gust of air surged out and sent Huofu flying. The Blue Wolf Emperor hated the power of fire to the extreme. Its first target was surprisingly Huofu. When the Ash Wolf Emperor was about to chase after Huofu, Hua Buxi's attack had already arrived. As a core disciple of the Ice Sect, Hua Buxi was best at playing with ice and snow. Plucking flowers and flying leaves was just a small trick he used to toy with Long Yu. Ice power, Hua Buxi shouted in demonic chi. Suddenly, a wave of ice and snow drifted in the air, covering the Ash Wolf Emperor's body in a layer of ice and snow. It was as if the Ash Wolf Emperor was going to be completely frozen. Hua Buxi cultivated the Ice Sect's Ice Heart Sutra and had already comprehended the power of heaven and earth. At this moment, the release of the power of heaven and earth produced a miraculous effect. The Ash Wolf Emperor's body froze. Not only did it not have time to chase after Huofu, but it was also heavily injured by Baihang and Lu Yuan's heavy attacks. Heaven Suppression Power. Baihang waved the sword in his hand, and the power of heaven suppression was also formed. Under the suppression of the two powers, the Ash Wolf Emperor seemed to be suddenly weakened. However, before the four of them could breathe a sigh of relief, a terrifying Yin Qi suddenly exploded from the Ash Wolf Emperor's body, shattering the power of heaven suppression and the power of ice. Be careful, this beast is very strong. Baihang's expression changed. He did not expect that even the suppression of the two powers could not affect the Ash Wolf Emperor at all. Lu Yuan's expression also became serious. She knew that if they did not finish off the Ash Wolf Emperor, they would never be able to obtain the lunar fragment. As the four of them fell into a fierce battle with the Ash Wolf Emperor, Long Yu, who was secretly observing the scene, became even more nervous. So the Yin Qi in the entire mine has dissipated and condensed into the Ash Wolf Emperor. Its strength has reached the third level of the True Spirit Realm. Long Yu quickly thought, looking at the strength of the Ash Wolf Emperor, the power contained in the Yin Qi pill in its body will definitely not disappoint me. If I take the Yin Qi pill and absorb the power within, it is very likely that I will be able to condense the true spirit. Not only that, the four experts had joined forces to deal with the Ash Wolf Emperor. If the lunar fragment happened to appear at this time, the possibility of Long Yu snatching it would be much higher. Thinking of this, Long Yu carefully observed the scene. There were originally a total of 21 people in the scene. Under the Ash Wolf Emperor's claws, 4 of them died, leaving only 17 people. Other than the 4 experts, there were a total of 13 people. Long Yu analyzed them one by one. Of the remaining 13 people, Wang Tianjua and the others accounted for 5. In addition, Yin, Lu Shucheng, and Hua Yilun were also 3 people who belonged to Bai Hong's group. There were also 5 people, one of which was Lu Yuan's junior sister, Xai Nuya, of the Qingqing Pavilion. The other 4 were the 4 disciples of the Breaking Blade sect. 2 of them were core disciples at the 1st level of the True Spirit Realm, and 2 were experts at the 9th level of the Martial Dao. Wang Tianjua's side is the strongest. I have to weaken them first. Long Yu's heart stirred as he quietly took action. He deliberately revealed his face at the hiding place. This time, Wang Tianjua, who had been searching for Long Yu's whereabouts, discovered him at a glance. That kid is there. He must be trying to take advantage of the chaos to attack. Brother Luo, let's go kill that kid first. Wang Tianjua called out and immediately brought the 2 true spirit guards of the Wang family, LV Taohua and Luo Liangfu, with him. They rushed towards Long Yu's location. That kid is dead for sure. Lu Mingcheng did not follow. Instead, he stood on the spot and sneered. With his martial Dao realm, he could only watch from the side. He was not even qualified to face Long Yu. As for Feng Yao, she saw that Wang Tianjua had brought people to kill Long Yu, but she did not say anything. Right now, she did not have much killing intent towards Long Yu. However, if she wanted to save Long Yu's life, she would not be able to do it. If not for Long Yu's existence, her father, Feng Chang'e, would not have placed all his attention on Long Yu, causing his relationship with her mother, Lu Yu, to worsen. This caused Feng Yao to not have a good impression of Long Yu. As for Long Yu, he did not care about Feng Yao at all. He only revealed his face when he saw Wang Tianjua and the 2 guards rushing toward him. Their eyes were filled with murderous intent. 3 people at the 1st level of the True Spirit Realm really think highly of me. However, do you think you can kill me, Long Yu, with just this? A cold light flashed in Long Yu's eyes. Chapter 106. Seeing Wang Tianjua and the 2 guards of the True Spirit Realm running towards Long Yu, many people were shocked. Among them, Hua Buxi, who was fighting the Blue Wolf Emperor, had a fierce look on his face. Although I can't kill you with my own hands, it's still a pleasure to watch you die in front of me. Hua Buxi looked at Long Yu cruelly, as if he could already see the scene of Long Yu being killed by Wang Tianjua. I originally wanted to avenge Xia Ho, but it seems that it's not my turn to do it. Huofu cast a sideways glance at Long Yu as he released his flames, a hint of pity in his eyes. It's such a pity that I can't kill this kid with my own hands. Hua Buxi and Huofu felt the same way. In their opinion, how could 3 1st-layer True Spirit Realm experts not be able to kill a 9th-layer Martial Path kid? Although Hua Buxi knew that Long Yu had comprehended the heaven-suppressing territory and killed Duanmu Tsonglong of the True Spirit Secret Realm, facing 3 True Spirit Secret Realm experts at the same time was definitely more difficult than killing Duanmu Tsonglong. Lu Yuan and Bai Hang were also engaged in a fierce battle with the Blue Wolf Emperor. Naturally, the 2 of them also noticed this scene. Lu Yuan did not care about it and did not react. She continued to deal with the Blue Wolf Emperor. On the other hand, Bai Hong's expression changed when he saw the situation. Stop! Bai Hong could not care less about the Blue Wolf Emperor and ran towards Long Yu, as if he was trying to save him. Our target is the Blue Wolf Emperor. Bai Hong, where are you going? Hua Buxi and Huofu snorted coldly at the same time. While dealing with the Blue Wolf Emperor, they also completely restrained Bai Hong. Under the bombardment of the flower-plucking flying leaves and raging flames, Bai Hong had no chance of escaping to help Long Yu. Long Yu was naturally aware of the situation. He was a little touched when he saw that Bai Hong wanted to save him. However, he might just be putting on an act. We must not be careless. Until now, Long Yu did not know how Bai Hong viewed him in his heart. This person was too unfathomable. However, even without Bai Hong, it shouldn't be a problem for Long Yu to deal with Wang Tianjua and the other 2 by himself, The two guards at the first level of the True Spirit's secret realm, LV Taowa and Luo Liangfu, ran in front of Wang Tianjua and chased after Long Yu. Long Yu pretended to panic and turned to run. However, with his speed as a ninth-stage martial Dao cultivator, how could he escape? Lu Taowa and Luo Liangfu, the two guards of the True Spirit's secret realm, revealed cruel expressions. A mere ninth-stage martial Dao trash dares to offend our young Master Wang? He's courting death. Audacity! You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. This will be the last mistake you will ever make in your life. Both of them gave a loud shout and condensed their Tiger King true spirits behind their backs. The Tiger King phantom roared, causing their speed to soar. In an instant, they were less than 100 feet away from Long Yu. This is my chance. Long Yu's heart trembled. He deliberately pretended to run away to achieve this effect. Ghost Flash. In the next moment, Long Yu turned into Ghost Chi and disappeared in front of the two guards. Then, a wave of 9 nether chi enveloped the entire area. Heaven's suppressing domain. A terrifying pressure descended from the sky, causing Lu Taowa and Luo Liangfu's expressions to change. They only felt that their movements were completely suppressed. The tyrannical heaven-suppressing domain made them unable to move, use any Xian Qi, or use any martial skills. It's a domain. Be careful. The square-faced Lu Taowa immediately shouted. However, in the next moment, Long Yu's figure appeared beside them, and he punched the ground. 9 nether explosion. A cold light flickered in Long Yu's eyes. Since you want to kill me, I'll first create the illusion that I'm running away. Then I'll turn around and kill you when you're unprepared. In an instant, a torrent of netherworld chi condensed into an explosive flow and gushed out from beneath Luo Liangfu's feet. It instantly enveloped his entire body, and the netherworld chi rapidly corroded his entire body. Ah! A miserable shrill cry sounded out from within the pillar of 9th hell chi, and it caused everyone who heard it to shudder with fear. Luo Liangfu, a first-rank True Spirit Realm True Spirit Guard, was dead. The square-faced LV Taowa broke out in a cold sweat. He glanced sideways and saw that the netherworld chi beside him had dissipated, and what appeared in front of him was Luo Liangfu's corroded corpse. The strange and ghastly aura of the netherworld caused his entire body to tremble. Luo Liangfu was an expert at the first stage of the True Spirit Realm, yet he was killed by a kid at the 9th stage of the martial path. Who could tell him if this was true or not? However, LV Taowa immediately realized that he was still under the pressure of the heaven-suppressing domain. Once the domain was unleashed, who could contend against it? LV Taowa's square face was flushed red as he activated the Xian Qi in his body with all his might. Heaven-suppressing domain, 9 hell activation, spear shadows. Long Yu held the 9 hell dragon spear in his hand and swept it towards LV Taowa. The spear shadows were like shadows that wanted to take away LV Taowa's life. However, LV Taowa had finally adapted to the pressure of the heaven-suppressing domain and was barely able to move. Tiger King, True Spirit, go! The phantom image of the Tiger King appeared behind him and roared at Long Yu. Then it charged towards the spear images. The Tiger King's claws were extremely sharp. With a few swipes, Long Yu's spear shadows were destroyed. This is the strength of the first rank of the True Spirit Realm. Long Yu let out a light laugh, but he didn't care about his spear shadows being broken. His silhouette had already flashed, and he actually dashed towards Wang Tianjua, who was behind him. He had taken the initiative to attack in order to kill Wang Tianjua. This Wang Tianjua had once used his true spirit to crush Long Yu in Jade Pass City just to show his strength in front of Feng Chang'e. Now, he had brought 2 true spirit guards to deal with him. If I let you go, wouldn't there be more trouble in the future? Long Yu thought in his heart as his eyes flashed with a cold light. He rushed towards Wang Tianjua. True spirit, appear. Seeing this, Wang Tianjua's expression changed. He immediately activated his true spirit, and the phantom of the Tiger King true spirit appeared behind him. He had never thought that the two guards he had brought with him at the first rank of the true spirit realm would be caught off guard, and one of them was killed by Long Yu. In other words, Wang Tianjua, was no longer Long Yu's match. Capture the thief, capture the king. The one I want to capture is you, Wang Tianjua. Long Yu laughed out loud. Just as he was about to stab Wang Tianjua with his spear, he suddenly swept out with the 9-held dragon spear in his hand, creating a gust of air that swept him up and sent him flying hundreds of feet. 9-held dragon fist, drunk in the Yellow Springs kill. Long Yu fell from the sky like a meteor. The 9-held chi instantly pierced through the sky and formed a hundreds of feet long Yellow Springs road that seemed to connect to the sky. The Yellow Springs road, formed by the 9-held chi, enveloped Wang Tianjua, causing him to be momentarily dazed. Even the Tiger King true spirit that he had just summoned behind him became dispirited. Wang Tianjua knew how powerful Long Yu was and had been prepared for this move. However, he had never expected that Long Yu would leap into the sky and throw a punch from above. He had been on guard and had never expected that Long Yu would know a martial skill like the soaring nether dragon. Kill. With a punch, Long Yu's figure fell from the sky and landed on the phantom of the Tiger King true spirit. With the formation of the heaven-suppressing domain, the phantom of the Tiger King true spirit was instantly destroyed. This time, it was a true defeat. Even if Wang Tianjua woke up, he would not be able to condense the Tiger King true spirit again. He would need to rest for a long time before he could recover. The 9-held chi instantly exploded. Not only did it completely destroy the Tiger King true spirit, it also enveloped Wang Tianjua. Demon subduing Vajra seal. Long Yu's hand flashed with a faint golden light. With a slap, he sent Wang Tianjua flying and heavily fell to the ground. Wang Tianjua was not completely killed. After all, the main target of Long Yu's punch was his true spirit. However, at this time, Wang Tianjua was sent flying by the demon subduing Vajra seal. His body was also being corroded by the endless 9-held chi. His face was covered in black smoke. It was obvious that the 9-held chi was wreaking havoc in his body. This time, even if Wang Tianjua did not die, he would be crippled. In an instant, Long Yu had crushed and killed a true spirit guard, Luo Liangfu, and severely injured Wang Tianjua. Of the 3 true spirit realm experts, 2 were gone in an instant. The only one left was LV Taohua, who had finally broken free from the pressure of the heaven-suppressing domain. That was because Long Yu was no longer by his side, so he naturally could not be affected. LV Taohua turned around, and his face instantly turned ugly. He saw that Wang Tianjua's face had turned black. All the meridians in his body seemed to be corroded. Not only that, even the Tiger King true spirit had been completely destroyed. What kind of monster was this Long Yu? Was he really only at the 9th level of the martial path? How could a 9th level martial path cultivator defeat a 1st level true spirit realm cultivator so easily? Not only LV Taohua, but everyone else present was shocked by Long Yu's actions. Initially, when they saw Long Yu escape, they thought that he was a fool. Since everyone present had enemies, why would he show himself? Now they understood that Long Yu was not escaping, but creating an opportunity to deal with the 3 of them. Haha, Junior Brother Long is amazing. Buying laughed heartily. He finally had no more worries in his heart. He had seen Long Yu kill Xiaohou Tianjia, so he knew that Long Yu could fight against an opponent in the true spirit realm. However, he did not know that Long Yu could fight against 3 of them at the same time, killing one and injuring the other in an instant. 3 idiots, they still can't kill Long Yu. It looks like I have to do it myself. Hua Yin Hua Qing as your big brother, I will avenge you. Hua Buxi and Huofu thought at the same time. Hua Buxi could not wait any longer. A murderous glint flashed across his face as he prepared to fight Long Yu. However, at this moment, Baihang's Heaven's Might Sword skill descended upon Hua Buxi. Your opponent is the Emperor of the Blue Wolves. Baihang fought back with his own strength, restraining Hua Buxi so that he could not fight against Long Yu. Die. However, when Huofu saw this, He turned into flames and charged at Long Yu. Watch out! Bai Hang was shocked when he saw this. He could only stop Hua Buxi and deal with the Emperor of the Blue Wolves at the same time. That was his limit. Now that Huofu had made his move, there was nothing he could do. Huofu, have you forgotten about the agreement between the four of us? Chapter 107. Long Yu kept an eye on Hua Buxi and Huofu's movements. To him, the biggest threat was not Wang Tianjua and his two true spirit-level guards, but Hua Buxi and Huofu, who were fighting the Grey Wolf Emperor. If either one of them attacked, it was possible for him to be killed. Earlier, Long Yu had been planning to execute the underworld dragon soaring leap the moment the two of them made a move. Then, he would immediately flee. However, it seemed like Bai Hang and Lu Yuan had done him a great favor by stopping both Hua Buxi and Huofu. Long Yu glanced at Lu Yuan. He did not understand why this beautiful girl would suddenly help him and stop Huofu. If that's the case, I owe you one. Long Yu thought to himself as he turned to look at the remaining true spirit-level guard, LV Taohua. Wang Tianjua had brought two true spirit-level guards with him, but Luo Liangfu had already been killed by Long Yu. LV Taohua had lost his will to fight after seeing Luo Liangfu killed and Wang Tianjua injured. You killed a guard of my Wang family. You're dead, LV Taohua said with bloodshot eyes. It doesn't matter if I die or not. You'll die before me. Long Yu sneered. He did not care about his opponent's threat and walked toward LV Taohua. LV Taohua was intimidated by Long Yu's aura. He turned around and tried to escape. Domain. Long Yu released the domain of the heaven-suppressing domain as he advanced. The domain of the heaven-suppressing domain instantly covered LV Taohua, preventing him from using his movement skill. He could barely move, but his speed was extremely slow. It was impossible for him to escape from Long Yu. Kill reverse scale touch. Long Yu yelled and bit his finger, causing blood to spray onto the 9 Nether Dragon Spear. Following this, the spiritual communication martial technique, reverse scale touch, was executed as Long Yu threw the 9 Netherworld Dragon Spear at LV Taohua. The energy of the Netherworld condensed at the tip of the spear, and it brought along a wave of air flow as it swiftly pierced towards LV Taohua's face in the blink of an eye. Tiger King's true spirit defend. LV Taohua revealed a sinister expression as the Tiger King true spirit behind him roared and charged towards the 9 Nether Dragon Spear. The reverse tentacle scale and the Tiger King's true spirit collided with a loud bang. A burst of turbulence erupted, and dust and smoke floated in the air. He blocked it. LV Taohua was overjoyed. He could feel that his Tiger King true spirit was still alive. It wasn't destroyed by Long Yu like Wang Tianjua. However, he did not know that Long Yu's shot was simply used to confuse him. Immediately after, a wave of netherworld chi instantly came out from behind LV Taohua, and it imitated the path of the yellow springs and enveloped him within it. Instantly, he became absent-minded. 9 Nether Dragon Fist die. Long Yu flashed behind LV Taohua and avoided the Tiger King true spirit's illusory image. He heavily punched LV Taohua's back. The strength of over 1,000 horses penetrated into his body, his limbs, and his bones, sending him flying. He fell heavily to the ground, unable to get up again. The netherworld chi had already corroded and destroyed all the meridians in his body. Death had descended. This scene fell into the eyes of the surrounding people, leaving only shock in their minds. The expressions of the 4 experts who were fighting with the Azure Wolf Emperor immediately changed as they looked at Long Yu. Even if it was Bai Hang, Huofu, and company, if they were to deal with Wang Tianjua and company alone, they wouldn't have it any easier than Long Yu. In that case, could it be that Long Yu had the strength to contend against them? However, it was clear that Long Yu was only at the 9th level of the martial Dao realm. But soon, many people realized that Long Yu's strength was actually not as strong as they had imagined. Just now, Long Yu had killed Wang Tianjua and company using all his means to defeat them one by one. If Wang Tianjua and company had attacked together, they believed that Long Yu would not have had a high chance of winning. However, the combat talent that Long Yu had displayed on the spot made everyone remember him. This black-clothed youth was called Long Yu. In a nearby corner, Ling Han, Ling Yue, and Lu Guanming were completely stunned to see Long Yu kill 2 people at the first level of the true spirit secret realm. If the fact that Long Yu had killed Xiaohou Tianjie by himself made them feel that it was normal, then the fact that he had instantly killed Luo Liangfu and heavily injured Wang Tianjue had completely exceeded their expectations. Originally, I wanted to rush out and sneak attack those 3, but it seems that Brother Long doesn't need our help at all. Ling Han had a bitter smile on his face. He remembered that when he first met Long Yu was only at the 6th level of the martial path, the same cultivation as his sister Ling Yue. But in such a short period of time, Long Yu had grown to such an extent that he could easily kill 3 experts at the first level of the true spirit secret realm. With Brother Long's strength, there is still hope for him to obtain the lunar fragment. Lu Guanming's eyes were filled with joy. But the premise is that we don't disturb him and drag him down. Ling Yue said calmly. Among the 3, she was the one who had the clearest view of the situation. Although she was the youngest, she was the most meticulous. Ling Han and Lu Guanming nodded at the same time. With their current cultivation of the 8th and 6th level of the martial path, if they appeared on the battlefield, they would definitely distract Long Yu. In the battlefield, the 4 experts were still fighting against the Emperor of the Blue Wolf. Even though it was 1 against 4, the Emperor of the Blue Wolf did not seem to be at a disadvantage. Of course, part of the reason was because of Long Yu. The 4 experts were restraining each other, so they could not focus on the Emperor of the Blue Wolf. I'll kill this beast first. As for Long Yu, I'll have the chance to tear him to pieces sooner or later. Hua Buxi thought to himself as a fierce light flashed across his face. Then, he focused all his attention on the Emperor of the Blue Wolf. As long as he killed the Emperor of the Blue Wolf, Lu Yuan would have no reason to stop Huafu. Hua Buxi and Huafu, one to stop Bai Heng, the other to deal with Long Yu. It would be a piece of cake. Next time, I won't let you have the chance to escape. Hua Buxi thought back to the time when Long Yu used the Nether Dragon leap to escape. He felt a little unhappy. If he had known that this would happen, he would not have played this game of cat and mouse. However, it was useless for him to regret. Now, he had to kill the Emperor of the Blue Wolf first. Ice flew in the air as Hua Buxi used a spirit-level martial skill on the Emperor of the Blue Wolf, freezing the Emperor of the Blue Wolf for a moment. Good chance. Seeing this, Bai Heng gathered his Heaven's Might sword art and slashed out. Instantly, a wound appeared on the Emperor of the Blue Wolf's back, from which thick yin qi seeped out. There was no blood in the Emperor of the Blue Wolf's body, only yin qi. This was because its entire body was formed from yin qi, flowing light sword shadow. The scarlet short sword drew streaks of white light as it danced in Lu Yuan's snow-white hands. Her alluring figure, dressed in black, flashed around the Emperor of the Blue Wolf. Among the 4 experts, Lu Yuan was the fastest. The cultivation method of the Glamorous Shadow Pavilion, Glamorous Shadow, contained the natural laws of speed and charm. Against the Emperor of the Blue Wolf, the charm law was obviously useless. However, its increased speed was the key to a battle. Long Yu rested at the side and observed the battle of the 4 experts at the same time. Although everyone is hiding something, their fighting styles are also very obvious. Long Yu thought as he observed. Lu Yuan was the fastest, and her flowing light sword shadow was probably a spirit-level middle-grade martial skill. It was more destructive than the martial skills that the others were using. As for Huafu, he had condensed his fire true soul. His entire body exuded a violent aura. With a wave of his hand, he could blow up a large area. It was the most suitable fighting style for one against many. Bai Heng's Heaven's Might sword art was fast and powerful, but it was still slightly weaker than Lu Yuan's. Of course, the Heaven's Might sword art was not the strongest martial skill that Bai Heng had cultivated. As for Hua Buxi, his entire body exuded an icy aura. He controlled the natural power of ice. With a wave of his hand, his opponent's Xian Qi would be hindered and slowed down, creating an advantage for himself. Because the four experts came from different sects, their fighting styles were also different. Long Yu secretly speculated, if he were to fight against one of them, what method should he use to resist? When Hua Buxi and Hua Fu stopped worrying about Long Yu and focused on dealing with the Emperor of the Blue Wolf, the Emperor of the Blue Wolf was finally at a disadvantage under the attacks of the four experts. The battlefield was filled with yin qi, all of which was seeping out from the wounds on the Emperor of the Blue Wolf's body. Just as the Emperor of the Blue Wolf could not hold on any longer and was about to be destroyed into a cloud of yin qi, a wave of extremely thick yin qi suddenly erupted from the center of the mine. Suddenly, the entire mine pit shook violently. The ground beneath the Blue Wolf Emperor's feet actually began to crack. This scene caused everyone present to be on high alert. Even the four great experts were a little bewildered, and each of them began to back away. The Emperor of the Blue Wolf roared, and yin qi filled the air. An extremely thick wave of yin qi continuously spewed out from the cracked ground beneath its feet. Soon, a small gray stone flew out from the crack in the ground. Lunar fragment. Almost everyone immediately reacted. At that moment, everyone's faces were filled with anxiety. The lunar fragment had finally appeared, but it appeared under the feet of the Emperor of the Blue Wolf. And from the looks of it, it seemed to be merging with the Emperor of the Blue Wolf. If the lunar fragment merged with the Emperor of the Blue Wolf, how terrifying would the Emperor of the Blue Wolf become? Putting that aside, the most important thing was that the lunar fragment was everyone's main goal in coming here. If it merged with the Emperor of the Blue Wolf, then wouldn't everyone's trip be in vain? Just as everyone was about to swarm forward, a black figure was faster than all of them. In a flash, he appeared under the belly of the Emperor of the Blue Wolf. It's Long Yu. Buying was shocked. This Long Yu was so bold to dare to snatch the treasure from the wolf's mouth. When the lunar fragment appeared, everyone was afraid of facing danger and retreated. Only Long Yu risked his life and flashed towards the crack in the ground. Because of this, at that moment, only Long Yu was the closest to the lunar fragment. In fact, he could even hold the lunar fragment in his hand with a stretch of his hand. However, how dare this Long Yu? If it were Lu Yuan, Hua Fu, or Hua Buxi, Buying would not be so surprised. However, Long Yu was only at the 9th level of the martial path. Chapter 108. When the mind shook, Long Yu became nervous. Seeing that the others had distanced themselves from the Ash Wolf Emperor, he gritted his teeth and charged towards the Ash Wolf Emperor. As expected, a small gray stone that emitted a strong yin qi appeared under the Ash Wolf Emperor's feet. Long Yu thought to himself that he had made the right bet. He turned into ghost qi and appeared under the Ash Wolf Emperor's feet in a flash. He reached out and grabbed the small gray stone in his hand. Endless yin qi seeped into his body through the small stone and circulated throughout his body. If a normal person was invaded by so much yin qi, their blood would be frozen and they would feel like they had fallen into an ice cave, unable to move at all. However, Long Yu activated the 9 Underworld Dragon Seal and expelled all the yin qi from his body. Got it. Long Yu's heart trembled. Seeing that everyone was rushing over at their fastest speed, he did not have the time to sense what exactly the lunar fragment was. He could only run as fast as he could. The 4 experts, as well as many first-layer True Spirit Realm experts, such as Lu Yuan's junior sister Exine Yuya, and 2 Broken Blade Sect core disciples, all rushed towards him. Long Yu could not block them at all. Wind Flash Step, Dark Dragon Leap. Long Yu instantly used a martial skill and moved to the Ash Wolf Emperor's side. He then shook the 9 Underworld Dragon Spear and lifted him out of the deep pit. The Dark Dragon Leap, 100 zhong in 1 leap. Long Yu leaped into the distance like a meteor. At the same time, he finally saw Ling Han's group of 3 hiding in a valley not far away. Dark Dragon Leap. Catch. Long Yu landed on the ground as fast as he could and once again used the Dark Dragon Leap, jumping 100 zhong away. At the same time, he took the opportunity to throw the extreme yin fragment in Ling Han's direction. The Qi emitted by the extreme fragment had been suppressed by the 9 underworld dragon seal, so no one would notice it. He used the dark dragon leap twice in a row, instantly leaving everyone's line of sight. He quietly tossed the moon fragment to Ling Han. With Ling Han's familiarity with this region and the Qi, it should not be a problem for him to leave with the lunar fragment. As for Long Yu himself, he still had to take another risk and try to kill the Ash Wolf Emperor, thereby seizing the Qi pill in its body. If I can obtain the Azure Wolf Emperor's energy pill, the power contained within might be able to help me condense my true spirit. As Long Yu thought to himself, he once again executed the dark dragon leaping. He leaped 300 meters and turned in another direction, gradually distancing himself from Ling Han. "Brother, let's go." When Ling Yue saw that Ling Han had obtained the lunar fragment, she quickly said, "Now that senior brother Long Yu is being pursued, the only thing we can do now is to leave with the lunar fragment and wait for him to come out. I see that brother Long's speed is so fast that no one should be able to catch up to him. However, it's also hard to say," Lu Guangming said worriedly. "If he is caught, even if we are present, we will not be able to do anything. Instead, we will be a burden to him. Let's go, let's leave first." As Ling Han spoke, he hid the lunar fragment in his clothes. "When we are out of danger, let's hand the lunar fragment over to Brother Long." There was nothing to be said about Ling Han's loyalty to his brothers. This lunar fragment was something that Long Yu had risked his life to obtain. Naturally, he would not keep it for himself. Right now, he was completely replacing Long Yu to safely leave with the lunar fragment. The three of them followed Ling Han, traversing through the small hills and heading out of the mine. At this moment, Baiyang executed the world's end near, turning the short distance into the long distance. Very quickly, he arrived at the place where Long Yu had been. He was here, but where did he go? Baiyang thought hard. He stood on the tallest hill and looked around, but he could not find Long Yu's figure at all. After thinking for a moment, he walked into the distance. He would never have thought that Long Yu would actually return to where the Emperor of the Blue Wolves was. In the other 3 directions, Hua Fu, Lu Yuan, and Hua Buxi were also unable to catch up with Long Yu. Baihang's world's end near was already the fastest, but it was still not as fast as Long Yu's continuous dark dragon leaps. In terms of chasing and escaping, Long Yu's advantage was too great. The 4 experts of the second LV2 True Spirit Realm had their lunar fragment snatched away by a LV9 Martial Path Kid. If word of this got out, it would undoubtedly be a great humiliation. Hua Fu, Hua Buxi, and the new and old hatred for Long Yu were all on the verge of exploding. They searched for Long Yu in the mine, but they were searching in the wrong direction. They also did not expect that Long Yu would return to where the Emperor of the Blue Wolves was. Only Lu Yuan furrowed her brows. If I were Long Yu, where would I escape to after snatching away the lunar fragment? Lu Yuan stood at the top of a small hill and imagined that she was Long Yu. What people in the LV9 Martial Path desire the most is definitely not the lunar fragment, but to condense their true spirit. To condense their true spirit, they need the Emperor of the Blue Wolves' Qi pill. Lu Yuan's black hair fluttered in the wind, and her beautiful eyes, as bright as the stars, looked towards where the Emperor of the Blue Wolves was filled with Qi. Then, her curvaceous figure became agile again. In a flash, she had already leaped over several hills and was rushing towards where the Emperor of the Blue Wolves was. At that moment, Long Yu did not know that Lu Yuan had already seen through his thoughts. He quietly returned to the Emperor of the Blue Wolves and found that the Emperor of the Blue Wolves had become extremely irritable after losing the lunar fragment. It was actually venting its anger on the people in the mine who could not leave in time. Ian, Lu Shucheng, and Hua Yiluan had already used their movement skills and fled the world's end near at hand. The 4 experts from the Broken Saber sect were intimidated by the Blue Wolf Emperor's aura. Even though they had comprehended the Broken Saber's charm, the Broken Saber's aura, and their speed was extremely fast, they were unable to escape. They could only fight the Blue Wolf Emperor with their lives. Fortunately, The Emperor of the Blue Wolves had been seriously injured by the 4 experts and only had about half of its strength left. The mine was filled with qi, which came from the Emperor of the Blue Wolves' body, indicating that it was seriously injured. However, the Emperor of the Blue Wolves was a powerful existence at the 3rd level of the true spirit realm. The 2 experts at the 1st level of the true spirit realm and the 9th level of the martial path from the Broken Blade sect could not kill the Emperor of the Blue Wolves, no matter how heaven-defying they were. The Emperor of the Blue Wolves unleashed its true spirit wolf claw and instantly killed the 4 people from the Broken Blade sect, turning the mine into a river of blood. The counterattack of the 4 people from the Broken Blade sect also deepened the Emperor of the Blue Wolves' injuries. The heavily injured Emperor of the Blue Wolves howled, wanting to retrieve the celestial fragment to complete its transformation. Unfortunately, it did not have the chance to do so. Heaven-suppressing domain, 9 nether explosion kill. Long Yu turned around and punched the ground. Instantly, a terrifying pillar of 9 nether chi shot out from the Emperor of the Blue Wolves' feet and instantly penetrated its huge body. Roar! The Emperor of the Blue Wolves turned around and was instantly enraged when it saw that it was the guy who had stolen its celestial fragment. However, the Emperor of the Blue Wolves was hit by the 9 nether explosion and its body was corroded by the 9 nether chi. At this moment, it was unable to kill Long Yu. The 9 nether chi is extremely effective against the qi in this mine. Even if the Emperor of the Blue Wolves was condensed from qi and reached the 3rd level of the true spirit realm, after being attacked by the 9 nether chi, it should not have much combat power left, right? Long Yu held the 9 nether dragon spear in his hand, and his eyes flashed. Looking at the Emperor of the Blue Wolves' huge body running toward him, Long Yu's heart was as calm as an ancient well. He could clearly see that more than half of the Emperor of the Blue Wolves' body that was condensed from gray qi was glowing with a strange and dense 9 nether color. The Emperor of the Blue Wolves' life was at stake. Of course, this fierce beast was condensed from qi and did not have a life. It was just that it had gained intelligence. However, it was no different from a normal demonic beast. It would also be angry, kill, and have the desire to fight for the celestial fragment. Could such an existence be considered a life form? As Long Yu thought about this boring question, he swept the 9 nether dragon spear in his hand and moved his feet. Layers of spear shadows. The layers of spear shadows, carrying the 9 nether chi and the heaven-suppressing domain, instantly defeated the heavily injured Emperor of the Blue Wolves. There were countless wounds and holes all over its body, and qi kept dispersing out, just like a demonic beast bleeding. Whether you are considered a life or not, your qi pill is mine. Long Yu's eyes were cold. Among the layers of spear shadows, the Emperor of the Blue Wolves fell to the ground, exhausted. Its whole body was corroded by the 9 nether chi, and it soon turned into qi and began to dissipate. The appearance of the Emperor of the Blue Wolves was soon no longer formed, and it turned into a cloud of qi and dissipated. Only a qi pill condensed from qi was left where the Emperor of the Blue Wolves fell. Qi pill. Long Yu took 2 steps forward and picked up the qi pill. With a glance, he could feel the dense qi gathered in it. This qi was the essence that could be absorbed by a martial cultivator. The effect of this qi pill on a martial cultivator's realm was almost the same as the inner core of a demonic beast at the 3rd level of the true spirit secret realm. Are you sure you want to swallow this qi pill? A clear and melodious female voice came from the side. Long Yu turned his head to look and saw a graceful figure dressed in black with a faint smile on her beautiful face. It was the core disciple of Qingcheng Pavilion, Lu Yuan. If a person who has yet to condense his true spirit were to swallow a spirit pill or a demonic beast's inner core, it would be very difficult for them to withstand the power within. As a result, their meridians would explode and they would become useless. Lu Yuan's black hair fell to her waist as she looked at Long Yu with interest. Your combat talent is very strong. If you were to be crippled just like that, I would feel that it would be a pity. Long Yu glanced at her indifferently and without even thinking, he swallowed the Yin energy pill in his hand in one go. This action caused Lu Yuan to be stunned. This Long Yu is really daring. However, she could also tell that Long Yu really didn't think much of her. After hearing her reminder, he didn't even hesitate and directly swallowed the Yin Qi pill. However, whether you swallow the Yin Qi pill or not, it has nothing to do with me. Chapter 109. Of course, Long Yu knew that Lu Yuan had returned to snatch the lunar fragment from him. If you're so capable, come and try. The corners of Long Yu's mouth curled up slightly, as if he did not care about Lu Yuan's threat at all. I know that you're quite bold. Lu Yuan's beautiful eyes were cold. But aren't you a little too confident? So much nonsense. You don't dare to attack me? Long Yu laughed. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he felt the Yin energy pill he had swallowed emitting thick Yin energy in his body. This Yin energy was similar to the demonic qi of a demonic beast's inner core and the spiritual energy of heaven and earth contained in elixirs. It could be absorbed by him and turned into celestial qi in his body. Under the effect of the dragon seal of the 9 underworlds, the speed at which he absorbed the Yin energy pill was far faster than ordinary people. He quickly absorbed all of it and stored it in the dragon seal of the 9 underworlds. In the time it took to exchange a few words with Lu Yuan, he had completely digested the Yin energy pill. Of course, most of the Yin energy was still stored in the dragon seal of the 9 underworlds and not absorbed by him. This way, his combat ability would not be affected at all. Swoosh! Lu Yuan finally could not hold it in any longer. Her graceful figure leaped down and swept towards Long Yu. The 2 red swords brought with them a flash of white light. Wait, I'll hand over the lunar fragment. When Long Yu saw this, he suddenly shouted and stretched his hand into his bosom. Don't play tricks. You know that you're no match for me. Lu Yuan's slender legs paused and stopped 10 feet away from Long Yu. She looked at Long Yu warily. Of course. Long Yu nodded his head, following which he took something out from his robes. Dragon Leap. Just as Lu Yuan's attention was focused on Long Yu's hand, Long Yu suddenly swept his spear and leaped 100 feet back. In an instant, he reached the edge of the mine. Trying to run? Lu Yuan had already guessed Long Yu's actions. Seeing this, she sneered. Her figure moved, transforming into a stream of light and a sword shadow. She quickly chased after Long Yu. So fast, Long Yu's heart trembled, and he didn't dare to slack off. He swept the 9 nether dragon spear horizontally, and layers of spear shadows swept out in the direction of Lu Yuan's attack. Immediately after, he swept his spear horizontally and used the nether dragon leap again. The move of the nether dragon leap consumed a lot of profound qi, but after Long Yu's dantian had been tempered, the recovery speed of his profound qi was much faster than that of ordinary people. It was enough for him to use it a few more times. Break! Lu Yuan turned into a flowing light sword shadow. Suddenly, her graceful figure appeared in a flash. With a casual slash of her 2 red swords, the white flowing light sword shadow smashed Long Yu's numerous spear shadows. Now that she had made sufficient preparations, with her speed, it would be impossible for Long Yu to escape again. Dark Dragon Leap. Long Yu instantly took a step forward. Following that, he used the Nether Dragon's leap to travel through the rolling hills. Not long after, he arrived at a small valley. This valley was surrounded by mountain walls that were dozens of feet tall. If he hadn't used the Nether Dragon Leap, he would never have been able to jump over it. However, at this time, the profound qi in Long Yu's body was almost depleted. I didn't expect Lu Yuan to be so fast and to be so close to me. I don't even have enough profound qi to use the Nether Dragon Leap. Now, Long Yu stood in the valley, feeling Lu Yuan chasing after him quickly. He couldn't help but frown. A plan came to his mind. When Lu Yuan turned into a flowing light sword shadow and arrived at the small valley, she didn't see Long Yu. She only felt that Long Yu had been here before. Have you crossed the valley? I'd like to see if your profound qi or mine is sufficient. Once you're exhausted, how are you going to escape from me? Lu Yuan snorted softly. She turned into a flowing light, soared shadow, and leaped high. Her leap was dozens of feet high. In an instant, she crossed the mountain wall of the small valley and continued to chase after him. However, as soon as her figure disappeared, Long Yu appeared in the small valley. It turned out that he had used up all the profound qi in his body and could not use the Nether Dragon Leap. He could only turn into ghost qi and temporarily hide in the small valley. As the large mineral vein was full of yin qi, he did not attract Lu Yuan's attention when he turned into ghost qi. Hurry up and absorb the yin qi. Long Yu appeared and hurriedly left the small valley. Following the mountain path, he arrived at another hidden corner of the mountain and sat down. Right now, he was pressed for time. If he could use the yin qi in the yin energy elixir to condense his true spirit and step into the true spirit realm, then even if Lu Yuan caught up to him again, he would definitely be able to fight. The yin qi in the Blue Wolf Emperor yin energy elixir had already been refined and had the same nature as a demonic beast's inner elixir. It could be absorbed by martial cultivators. The yin qi in the mineral vein was the most natural yin qi. It was harmful to any living creature and could not be absorbed at all. There is still one last barrier between the heavenly meridian and this world before it can be completely connected. As long as I first reach the limit of the 9th level of the martial Tao and condense my true spirit, I will be able to completely connect the heavenly meridian and step into the true spirit realm. Long Yu sensed the meridians in his body. His xian qi was completely empty. He had used up all his xian qi during the chase. However, as he gradually absorbed the yin qi stored in the 9 Nether Dragon Seal, the meridians in his body were quickly filled with profound qi. Then, it charged towards the heavenly meridian that connected the heaven and earth. As a tyrannical existence at the 3rd level of the true spirit realm, the Azure Wolf Emperor's yin energy elixir naturally contained an extremely violent power. An ordinary martial cultivator at the 9th level of the martial Tao would not dare to use it rashly. However, after Long Yu absorbed and stored the yin qi in the 9 Nether Dragon Seal, the yin qi was no longer as domineering and could be easily absorbed by him. Charge! The dense yin qi in Long Yu's body was charging towards the last checkpoint of the heavenly meridian. The surging yin qi was like a surging wave in the ocean, howling as it tried to break through the heavenly meridian and rush into the vast heaven and earth. However, no matter how hard Long Yu tried, he could not break through the last barrier of the heavenly meridian before he condensed his true spirit. I've reached the limit of the 9th level of the martial Tao. Next is to condense my true spirit. In order to condense a true spirit, it was important that one had to be compatible with the heaven and earth. As long as one could find a point of compatibility with the heaven and earth, one would be able to condense a true spirit and step into the true spirit realm. This was extremely difficult for some martial cultivators with limited talent. For example, the Tan family's ancestor that Long Yu had killed had never cultivated any mental cultivation techniques in his life and had no understanding of the laws of heaven and earth. How difficult would it be to find a point of compatibility with the heaven and earth? However, to Long Yu, this was not a problem at all. I've already comprehended the heaven suppressing domain, so I'll use the laws of heaven suppressing as a point of compatibility to condense my true spirit. Long Yu's eyes flickered with golden light. The laws of heaven and earth that he had comprehended were mainly the laws of suppression contained in the heaven suppressing art. As for the strange grasses laws of withering swamp, his comprehension was still shallow, and he rarely used it in battle, so it was impossible for him to condense a true spirit. Next was the most crucial step, the step of condensing a true spirit. Anyone who condensed a true spirit would definitely have a form. For example, Yu Shuyun's suppressing palm, Wang Tianjua and the other Wang family's Tiger King's true spirit, Heavenly Eagle's true spirit, etc. The forms of these true spirits were the manifestation of the laws of heaven and earth that they had comprehended. The more compatible the form of the true spirit with the laws, the more powerful it would be. Of course, for normal martial cultivators, it was already good enough to condense a true spirit. There was no chance for them to choose the form of manifestation. However, this was not the case for Long Yu. He had comprehended the heaven-suppressing domain, so at this moment, he could display the laws of suppression in any form. Condensing a true spirit was no longer a problem after he had consumed the Yin energy pill. The problem was, how should he display the laws of suppression? 9 Underworld Dragon. Long Yu immediately thought of the 9 Underworld Dragon seal on his chest, but he suddenly felt a strong resistance from the 9 Underworld Dragon seal. The 9 Underworld Dragon seemed to be an extremely powerful existence from ancient times, and it disdained to display the laws of suppression. This 9 Underworld Dragon seal can actually throw a tantrum. Long Yu was slightly puzzled, but since he could not use the 9 Underworld Dragon to display the laws of suppression and condense a true spirit, he could only think of another way. Suppression. Everything in the world. What kind of object could best display the power of the law of suppression? As Long Yu thought about it, he raised his head. Suddenly, he felt the scorching sun in the sky sprinkling down its rays, causing him to have an epiphany. The sun shines on all things. If I can condense a sun true spirit, wouldn't the suppression of laws of suppression be able to cover the entire area? Long Yu's heart moved. He had stepped into the martial path for so long and had seen all kinds of true spirits, but he had never seen a sun true spirit. However, the sun true spirit and the power of the laws of suppression must be extremely compatible, which was suitable for Long Yu. He felt the sunlight shining on his body. Although it was blocked and weakened by the layers of Yin Qi, it still had a special heat that spread throughout his body. He began to try to fuse the laws of suppression that he had comprehended with the sunlight shining on his body. In the mind, the scorching sun shone brightly. No one knew that someone would choose to condense a sun true spirit in such a gloomy place, and no one thought that Long Yu would condense a sun true spirit in such a dangerous environment. For ordinary martial cultivators, condensing a sun true spirit was a lifelong event, and it was impossible to do it in such a situation. However, Long Yu made such a choice. Moreover, in just the time it took for a joss stick to burn, he had already integrated the heaven-suppressing domain into the sunlight and condensed a round sun shadow in his dantian. This was the true spirit that he had condensed, the sun true spirit. I'll call you heaven-suppressing Sunday, Long Yu thought with satisfaction. As the heaven-suppressing sun condensed, Long Yu felt that the last barrier of the heavenly meridian in his body had finally loosened. Following that, wave after wave of dense Yin Qi finally broke through the heavenly meridian and became one with heaven and earth. True Spirit Realm. Chapter 110. Stepping into the true spirit realm, Long Yu could clearly feel that he was different from before. Condensing the true spirit opened a new door on the path of cultivation. True spirit of the sun, heaven-suppressing Sunday, through the heaven-suppressing sun, Long Yu was more compatible with heaven and earth. If he were to release the heaven-suppressing domain, the pressure would be at least twice as strong as before. Furthermore, after stepping into the true spirit realm, Long Yu's basic strength had increased tremendously. The first layer of the true spirit realm had the basic strength of 1,000 horses, which was 4 times stronger than when he was in the 9th layer of the martial path. This kind of strength was also known as the 1 June strength. If he stepped into the 2nd layer of the true spirit realm, he would have the basic strength of 2 Junes. With every increase in cultivation, his basic strength would double. From this, it could be seen that even if there was only a difference of 1 layer, the gap between the 2 cultivators was huge. Furthermore, the higher the rank of the cultivator, the greater the gap between them. This is the feeling of power, the first layer of the true spirit realm. Long Yu's eyes flickered. Now, if I were to face an opponent in the first layer of the true spirit realm, I could defeat them with a single move. Even experts like Hua Buxi and Huofu would be able to put up a fight, and it is even possible for me to kill them. His martial path realm had finally increased once again, and the changes that came with stepping into the true spirit realm were not limited to just the heaven-suppressing sun and basic strength. 9 Underworld Dragon Seal, activate. Long Yu gathered his Xian Qi in his chest, and the 9 Underworld Dragon Seal was activated. A boiling aura spread throughout his body, and at the same time, it gave him the strength of 1,000 horses. Once the 9 Underworld Dragon Seal was activated, his basic strength would double. When Long Yu stepped into the true spirit realm, the 9 Underworld Dragon Seal had finally evolved for the 3rd time, becoming even stronger. Not only did my strength increase tenfold after activation, the second skill of the 9 Underworld Dragon Fist, the Palm of Reincarnation, has also appeared. Long Yu's eyes lit up. The Palm of Reincarnation was a supreme-grade spiritual martial skill. Just like the Yellow Springs Drunken Fist, it was far more powerful than other spiritual martial skills. Previously, when he faced an expert in the second layer of the true spirit realm, even if he used the Yellow Springs Drunken Fist, he might not have been able to kill his opponent. He would not have been able to. But now, after Long Yu activated the Dragon Seal of the 9 Underworlds and combined it with the demon-vanquishing tyrant body, his basic strength had reached the strength of 2,500 horses, which was much stronger than a normal second-ranked true spirit realm martial cultivator. If he were to successfully cultivate the Samsara Awakening Palm, then Hua Buxi and Hua Fu would no longer be a match for Long Yu. Of course, the current Long Yu definitely did not have the time to practice the Samsara Awakening Palm. As a top-quality spirit tier martial skill, the difficulty of practicing this move was much higher than all the other martial skills he had encountered before. It was definitely not something that could be successfully practiced within a short period of time. On the contrary, as he stepped into the true spirit realm, the 9 Underworld Dragon Spear that was compatible with him finally sent out a thought, which recorded the cultivation method of spiritual spear art. This is the spear art that my father created, a high-grade spiritual martial skill, 10,000 slaughter. Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. He now knew that his father, Long Zaiqian, was a general of the Tang Empire. The spear art that he created was a martial skill that was used to kill enemies on the battlefield. 10,000 slaughter, killing 10,000 people with one thrust of the spear. This was an extremely domineering move. Moreover, this 10,000 slaughter spear art was created by Long Zaiqian, which made Long Yu feel a little excited. He had heard of self-created martial skills before, but it was too difficult for ordinary martial cultivators to do so. The most important part of martial skill was the route that Xian Qi flowed through the body. After passing through different acupuncture points, the effects would be completely different. There were many acupuncture points and meridians in the human body. If one tried to do so casually, it would be easy to cause the meridians to explode or even the dantian to shatter. Without enough confidence and talent, no one would be able to create a martial skill. The current martial skills were all created after countless trials and tribulations by predecessors. Some of the truly powerful martial skills were always in the hands of the strongest experts and would not be spread out. 10,000 slaughter, killing 10,000 people with one thrust of the spear. If I learn this move, I will definitely be invincible on the battlefield. Long Yu held the 9 Underworld Dragon Spear and waved it a few times. He decided to cultivate this spear art first before considering the Palm of Reincarnation Awakening, because the latter was too difficult to cultivate. Heaven-suppressing sun, this true spirit is only an illusion now. If I can condense it into a physical body, it will obviously be even more powerful. It's a pity that I'm only at the first level of the true spirit realm. If I want to condense the true spirit into a physical body, I need to at least reach the 4th level of the true spirit realm. I'm still far from it. Long Yu felt it was a pity, but now that he had successfully integrated the heaven-suppressing domain and condensed the sun true spirit, it was already worth celebrating. In battle, as long as he released the sun shadow in his dantian, he would be able to instantly spread the pressure of the heaven-suppressing domain, no longer limited to the original range of 20 feet. Although the further the distance, the weaker the pressure, the advantage was that as long as he was under the light of the heaven-suppressing sun, he would be able to completely grasp the enemy's every move. It sounded complicated, but it took less than 2 hours for Long Yu to condense the true spirit and step into the true spirit realm. When he was about to get up and move again, he suddenly felt something strange with the 9 underworld dragon seal on his chest. What's going on? He frowned slightly as he felt the 9 underworld dragon seal emitting a dense 9 underworld chi that gathered in his dantian. Then, the strange 9 underworld chi gradually condensed into the shadow of the 9 underworld dragon. As soon as the shadow of the 9 underworld dragon appeared, it pushed the heaven-suppressing sun, which was also in his dantian, to the corner, showing the domineering power of the 9 underworld dragon. Although the power of the heaven-suppressing sun was not affected by this, Long Yu was able to see through it. The shadow of the 9 underworld dragon was clearly also a shadow of the real spirit. A second real spirit? Long Yu couldn't help but think. The 9 underworld dragon disdained to integrate with the laws of heaven and earth, but this time it actively condensed the real spirit shadow with the 9 underworld chi. There were second real spirits on the heavenly mandate continent. In fact, every martial arts practitioner could condense more than one real spirit. It was just that in the actual process of cultivation, it was extremely difficult to condense a second real spirit, more than 10 times more difficult than condensing a first real spirit. Only those who reached a bottleneck in cultivation and could no longer improve their first real spirit would consider condensing a second real spirit. But now, Long Yu didn't do anything, and the 9 underworld dragon seal automatically condensed a second real spirit for him. Is this good or bad? Long Yu frowned slightly. If someone else encountered this, they would probably be ecstatic. After all, who wouldn't want a real spirit, and an extremely powerful real spirit, for no reason? But Long Yu felt that the 9 underworld dragon seal was full of strangeness. It was a pity that he no longer had memories of the descendants of the dragon tribe. Otherwise, he would like to see what other changes the 9 underworld dragon seal would have in the future. This real spirit of the 9 underworld dragon seems to be much more powerful than the heaven-suppressing sun. But after all, it is too strange. It's better not to use it under normal circumstances. Long Yu thought to himself, and then stood up. Ha! Finally found it. At this moment, a strange laughter that was neither a man nor a woman came from the valley next to him, which made Long Yu's heart tremble. He was just thinking about Hua Buxi, but he didn't expect him to appear right in front of him. Long Yu raised his head and saw a skinny figure in a red robe standing not far away, as if he was looking for something. When he saw Long Yu, he finally stopped laughing. The third-ranked core disciple of the Ice Sect, Hua Buxi, a second-layer true spirit realm expert. Hua Buxi would never give up on the lunar fragment, not to mention that he had been dreaming of killing Long Yu to avenge Hua Qing and Hua Yun. After searching for more than an hour in the mine, he finally thought of going back. He didn't expect to find his target so quickly. Long Yu was hiding in this corner. Could he be comprehending the power of the lunar fragment? A cold smile appeared on Hua Buxi's face as he leapt down from the hill and strolled in the direction of Long Yu. You're quite good at escaping, but it's a pity that I've caught you. You won't have another chance. Hua Buxi didn't waste any more time. As soon as he appeared, he immediately unleashed the frost force that he had comprehended. Around him, the power of the heavens and earth condensed from the law of ice instantly enveloped Long Yu. Following that, he walked towards Long Yu, step by step, as the phantom image of a frost flower appeared behind him. Hua Buxi's true spirit was a frost flower. As soon as the frost flower appeared, the power of the frost force that he had unleashed instantly doubled, causing Long Yu's blood to freeze. The frost force is indeed extraordinary. Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. He didn't expect Hua Buxi to use his full strength right from the start to suppress him and prevent him from escaping. At this moment, Long Yu felt as if he had fallen into an ice cave, as if his entire body was trapped in the ice. It looks like I have no choice but to unleash the heaven-suppressing Sunday, Long Yu's heart sank. He had initially wanted to test his strength and familiarize himself with the power of the first-layer true spirit realm. But now, he didn't even have the chance to test his strength. He had to use his full strength. Heaven-suppressing sun, come out. Long Yu roared as a heaven-suppressing sun rose behind him. In an instant, the terrifying heaven-suppressing domain spread out along with the sunlight. The frost force that Hua Buxi had unleashed was instantly suppressed by Long Yu's heaven-suppressing domain. He has condensed his true spirit, and the heaven-suppressing domain that he has comprehended is much stronger than before. Hua Buxi's face darkened. If that's the case, I can't let you live. Long Yu was too much of a threat to him. When he was in the 9th layer martial path, he was able to escape from him and snatch the lunar fragment away from the 4 experts. Now, Long Yu had condensed his true spirit. The speed of his improvement was incredible. When the two of them clashed with the heaven-suppressing domain, an intense aura immediately erupted. The other 3 people, who were also searching for Long Yu's traces, could clearly sense it. Over there. Chapter 111. Of course, Long Yu knew that the aura of the heaven-suppressing sun that he had released was too strong. If the other 3 experts weren't too far away, they would have quickly sensed the commotion and rushed over. Before that, Long Yu had to get rid of Hua Buxi. Heaven-suppressing field, release. Long Yu took a step forward, and the heaven-suppressing sun shone brightly. The light of the sun merged with the pressure of the heaven-suppressing field and illuminated the entire area. Hua Buxi was naturally within the range of the heaven-suppressing field. Ice force. Hua Buxi snorted coldly and continued to release the ice force to fight against Long Yu's heaven-suppressing field. At the same time, the frost flower true spirit behind him began to release ice to envelop Long Yu, trying to freeze him. Ice shadow. Following Hua Buxi's shout, the skinny androgynous red-robed figure instantly turned into ice. Then, dozens of identical ice figures appeared in all directions. Ice stream. Dozens of Hua Buxi's ice silhouettes raised their hands at the same time. Immediately after, they released a stream of light that was formed from ice at the same time. There were dozens of streams of ice in total, and they swept towards Long Yu Chuan, who was in the middle. Looking down from the sky, the dozens of streams of ice reflected the light of the heaven-suppressing sun, resembling a blooming flower of ice. And Long Yu was in the center of this flower of ice, as if he was about to be devoured by it and drowned. Shadow of ice, stream of ice, both are mid-grade spirit martial skills. Long Yu held the 9 nether dragon spear and stood in the middle of the field. Facing his opponent's killing blow, his heart became calmer. The ice shadow could instantly form dozens of ice clones with the power of the law of ice. The ice stream could release dozens of ice clones at the same time. Every ice stream could directly kill an expert at the first level of the true spirit realm. Even though I have formed the heaven-suppressing sun, Hua Buxi can still suppress the Xian Qi in my body and make it difficult for me to use any martial skills. Long Yu had a deeper understanding of the strength of a second-ranked true spirit realm expert. Even though the difference in basic strength could be made up for by activating the dragon seal of the 9 underworlds, in actual combat, Long Yu had no way of completely unleashing the 2 June of basic strength. The strength of 1 June was equivalent to the strength of 1,000 horses. The strength of 2 June was equivalent to the strength of 2,000 horses. Long Yu, who had just stepped into the true spirit secret realm, didn't know how to use such terrifying power. I can only fight with brute force. Long Yu gritted his teeth. The heaven-suppressing sun behind him instantly erupted with an even more tyrannical heaven-suppressing domain's power, slowing down the speed of the dozens of ice currents that were coming at him. Then he held the long spear in his hand and used the 10,000 kills spear technique in the midst of battle. 10,000 killer One spear strike kills 10,000 people. This spear art was not only useful on the battlefield, but also when one was outnumbered. If he used the 10,000 kill spear technique, he would be able to condense the power of killing 10,000 people into a single point. In a one-on-one fight, he would also be able to erupt with extremely terrifying destructive power. 9 Underworld's pattern. Activate. The long spear in Long Yu's hand suddenly emitted a strange black 9 Underworld chi, followed by a burst of chilling, killing intent. The 10,000 kill spear relied on momentum the most. The momentum of killing intent. On the battlefield, as a general, Long Zaition naturally couldn't take a step back. He could only follow the killing intent in his heart and kill everyone in the enemy camp. And the number of people that Long Yu had killed was also not small. Just as he was about to use the 10,000 kill spear technique, the killing intent immediately surged and condensed at the tip of the 9 Underworld's dragon spear. 10,000 kill. With the 9 Underworld's dragon spear in hand, Long Yu stabbed out and casually swept toward one of Hua Buxi's ice doppelgangers. The killing intent instantly enveloped the entire area. Under the tyrannical heaven suppression domain of Long Yu's heaven suppression sun, a single thrust of his spear was able to shatter several ice currents. Immediately after, his body seemed to merge with the 9 Underworld's dragon spear as he turned into a black stream of light. Accompanied by endless killing intent, he swept his spear horizontally and shattered several ice doppelgangers, turning them into ice shards that fell to the ground. Ice currents chase. As Long Yu's body moved, dozens of ice currents missed their target. However, immediately after, Hua Buxi controlled the ice currents and continued to entangle Long Yu. These ice currents intertwined in the entire area to form a magnificent ice net. Very soon, Long Yu discovered that even if he wanted to use his movement technique to dodge, there was no space left. The entire valley was filled with ice currents, causing the temperature of the environment to drop to an extremely low level. Martial cultivators who had not condensed their true spirits would probably be completely frozen by this terrifyingly low temperature, even without Hua Buxi's intentional targeting. 10,000 kill break. However, Long Yu was not flustered at all. He turned around and executed the 10,000 kill spear technique, gathering endless killing intent and instantly shattering the ice currents that were chasing after him. It's a spiritual upper-tier spear technique. Hua Buxi's eyes were sharp. With one look, he could tell that Long Yu was executing a spiritual upper-tier spear technique. Spiritual martial techniques could only be practiced and executed by experts who had condensed their true spirits. This Long Yu had only just condensed his true spirit and stepped into the true spirit secret realm, but he was already able to execute a spiritual spear technique? Or could it be that Long Yu was using battle to practice his spear technique? That was the truth. After executing the 10,000 kill twice, I've finally mastered this martial technique. However, it will be extremely difficult to improve it further. For the 10,000 kill of the minor success realm, I need to kill 10 people to accumulate more killing intent. For the 10,000 kill of the greater success realm, I need to kill 100 people to accumulate more killing intent. For the 10,000 kill of the 10,000 kill of the greater success realm, I need to kill 1,000 people or even 10,000 people in order to master the real 10,000 kill spear technique. Long Yu thought to himself. It was almost impossible for him to kill Hua Buxi with the 10,000 kill of the 10,000 kill spear technique. If that was the case, he could only resort to a method that he did not want to use. Dragon of the 9 Underworld, I wonder what kind of power you will bring me if I release you? Long Yu's eyes flashed coldly. He had to kill Hua Buxi as soon as possible. Otherwise, when Baihang, Huofu, and Lu Yuan arrived, he would be dead. Dragon of the 9 Underworld, true spirit, appear. Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. He used his Xian Qi to activate his Dantian. Instantly, a dragon of the 9 Underworld shadow appeared behind him, emitting a strange and dense 9 Underworld Qi. The appearance of the dragon of the 9 Underworld seemed to turn the entire area into the Yellow Springs. Hua Buxi did not even have time to react before he was stunned on the spot. At the same time, his ice doppelgangers were shattered by the yellow springs, allowing Hua Buxi's real body to finally appear in front of Long Yu. Dragon of a 9 underworld fist, able to simulate the yellow springs path and shock the opponent. I didn't expect the Dragon of the 9 underworld's true spirit to be able to envelop the entire area with the yellow springs path and shock everyone on the spot. It was even able to shatter the ice doppelgangers. Seeing this, how could Long Yu not seize the opportunity? 10,000 kill. Long Yu sprinted forward with his spear in hand. The tip of his spear danced in the air as the 9 underworld chi spread throughout the area. The spear stabbed forward. Hua Buxi, who was stunned by the Dragon of the 9 underworld shadow, did not even have time to react before the spear pierced through his chest. His red robe was torn to shreds, and fresh blood flowed from the wound. Duel. True spirits. Hua Buxi finally regained his senses after his chest was pierced by the spear. His eyes were filled with unwillingness as he felt the pain of his heart being pierced by the spear. Dual true spirits. He never expected Long Yu to possess dual true spirits. Furthermore, one of the true spirits possessed the terrifying power to turn the entire area into the Yellow Springs path. Under such terrifying power, the ice doppelgangers that Hua Buxi had used to confuse his opponents were all shattered. His real body did not have the time to react and was instantly killed by Long Yu's spear. As Hua Buxi's skinny body under his red robe fell to the ground with blood flowing out of his body, the icy current in the area instantly melted and turned into water droplets. It was as if a rainstorm had fallen, drenching the entire valley. Flowers did not wither, but when faced with the Dragon of the 9 underworld's true spirit, they finally withered. As for Long Yu, he immediately stored the Dragon of the 9 underworld's true spirit into his dantian. When the Dragon of the 9 underworld's true spirit appeared, it was as if some kind of force was trying to take away my consciousness. What exactly is going on? Long Yu had a lingering fear in his heart. Although he had used the Dragon of the 9 underworld's true spirit to kill Hua Buxi in an instant, he did not feel good either. This Dragon of the 9 underworld seal definitely has some kind of secret that is disadvantageous to me. Unfortunately, I have no idea what it is. Long Yu thought to himself. It seemed that in the future, if it wasn't necessary, he really couldn't release the 9 underworld's dragon's true soul phantom. If his consciousness was taken away, it would be too tragic. Hua Buxi was a second-layer true spirit realm expert who was stronger than me, but the killing intent I gathered after killing him was equivalent to that of 10 ordinary people. Long Yu immediately shifted his focus. After killing Hua Buxi, his 10,000 people kill spear art had reached the minor success stage. The 10,000 people kill spear art was a simple move that gathered killing intent. The stronger the killing intent, the stronger its power and the wider its range. As for killing intent, it was impossible to cultivate it through cultivation. Only by killing people could it be formed. This is a spear art used to kill people. I'm afraid it won't be very useful in a duel. However, even a minor success stage of the 10,000 people kill spear art is comparable to the greater success stage of the heaven-suppressing spear art. As Long Yu thought to himself, he gripped his spear tightly and withdrew the true spirit of the heaven-suppressing sun back into his dantian. It was rare to see someone with 2 true spirits in the entire Great Tang Kingdom, let alone a martial cultivator who had just entered the true spirit realm. If someone else were to find out about it, he would definitely become the target of everyone. Not only would his secret be exposed, it would also bring him endless trouble. In the hidden valley, Hua Buxi lay on the ground covered in blood, while Long Yu stood still with his spear in hand. The scene was witnessed by the 3 experts who had just arrived from 3 different directions, causing them to be dumbfounded. Hua Buxi was killed by him. Bai Hang, Huofu, and Lu Yuan had arrived at the same time and surrounded Long Yu. At that moment, the 3 of them were shocked. Chapter 112. Long Yu stood in the middle with a 9 nether dragon spear in his hand. Of course, he noticed that Bai Hang, Hua Fu, and Lu Yuan, the 3 great experts, had arrived at the same time and surrounded him. Long Yu had no chance of winning against 3 experts at level 2 of the true spirit realm at the same time. Junior brother Long Yu, you're lucky that you're fine. Otherwise, the Jintian clan would have suffered a great loss. Bai Hang laughed and took the initiative to say, Hua Buxi, that demon is already dead. Come on my senior brother's side. Let's return to the heaven-suppressing sect together. I want to see who dares to stop us. Hua Buxi was no match for Long Yu. This meant that Long Yu definitely had the strength to fight against experts at level 2 of the true spirit realm. Bai Hang, Hua Fu, and Lu Yuan had all guessed this. Otherwise, they would not have seen Hua Buxi's corpse when they arrived. However, how trustworthy were Bai Hang's words? Although Bai Hang and Long Yu were both disciples of the Jintian clan, Long Yu had experienced too many incidents where he was targeted by the disciples of the Jintian clan. Long Yu laughed and said, the reason why I was able to kill Hua Buxi was because of the power of the lunar fragment. However, I realized that such a treasure is useless in my hands. Senior brother Bai Hang, I'll hand the lunar fragment to you now. As soon as he said this, Long Yu threw a stone at Bai Hang. The stone was covered by Long Yu's 9 nether chi. At first glance, it did feel like the lunar fragment that had just appeared from the ground. Other than Long Yu, there was no one present who had truly touched the extreme fragment. In fact, they had only caught a glimpse of it before Long Yu snatched it away. Now that Long Yu had thrown out this gravel, Bai Hang's face was immediately filled with surprise, followed by joy. The extreme fragment was actually going to be obtained just like that? Dream on, Hua Fu bellowed, and his entire body burst into flames. He turned into a flaming tornado and flew towards the gravel that was still in midair. You want to snatch it? Bai Hang's expression changed. Immediately, he brandished his sword and activated the Heaven's Might sword art. A wave of Heaven's Might enveloped Hua Fu. Senior brother Bai Hang, my cultivation level is too low. I'm afraid I won't be able to help you. I'll take my leave first. Seeing this, Long Yu pretended to be timid and turned to leave. Nether Dragon Leap. The netherworld chi swirled up a gust of air, allowing Long Yu to leap 1,000 feet away in an instant, leaving the valley in an instant. Hua Fu and Bai Hang were already engaged in battle, so it was impossible for them to immediately pull out and chase after him. The only person that Long Yu was worried about was Lu Yuan. This beautiful girl was very meticulous and would not be easily fooled. As expected, when Lu Yuan saw Long Yu's series of actions, she raised her eyebrows. Her body moved, and she turned into a ray of sword light, chasing after Long Yu at an extremely fast speed. Kid, you're really full of tricks. If I hadn't been fooled by you twice, I would have really been fooled by you. Lu Yuan's cold voice could be heard. Obviously, she had guessed that Long Yu would not hand over the extreme fragment so easily. Earlier, when Long Yu had escaped from her and she had chased after him until Long Yu disappeared, she knew that Long Yu was an extremely difficult person to deal with. Now that this guy had entered the true spirit realm and killed Hua Buxi, it was even more impossible for him to hand over the extreme fragment. She had guessed correctly, but she did not know that if she had chased after him alone, Long Yu would not have been afraid at all. Unknowingly, Long Yu had consecutively executed the Dark Dragon Leap twice and returned to the mine where the extreme fragment had first appeared. The Emperor of Wolves had long been killed by Long Yu, turning into chi and dissipating. In the mine, there were only many corpses of martial cultivators left, exposed to the wind and the scorching sun. Where do you think you're going? Lu Yuan's cold voice came from in front of Long Yu. Then, a graceful figure dressed in black appeared in front of Long Yu. Lu Yuan was determined to catch up with Long Yu, so she exploded with a terrifying speed. Even if Long Yu executed the Dark Dragon Leap, she would still be able to catch up with him in an instant. Since you caught up with me, I won't run anymore. Long Yu laughed and held the spear in his hand horizontally. Then he released the heaven-suppressing territory and instantly enveloped Lu Yuan. You want to fight? I'll keep you company. Lu Yuan laughed coldly. Two red short swords crossed in front of her. White light flashed, accompanied by a bewitching aura of heaven and earth, drifted out from her body. Long Yu's heart trembled. His entire being was actually attracted to Lu Yuan, causing him to have a strong urge to pull Lu Yuan's charming body into his embrace. This was an urge that was like a moth flying into a flame. The Alluring Beauty Pavilion's cultivation method, Alluring Beauty Phantom, contained a phantom law. Understanding the phantom laws of heaven and earth not only allowed Lu Yuan's speed to be extremely fast, but it also made her even more charming. Especially to men, she would have a fatal attraction, coupled with her near-perfect looks and exquisite curves. Once the phantom laws of heaven and earth were released, all men would be unable to extricate themselves. Even Long Yu, who had a strong immunity to women, was a little dazed at this moment. Flowing light, sword, shadow, break. Lu Yuan took the opportunity to turn into a flowing light, sword, shadow, and instantly appeared in front of Long Yu. The sharp flowing light, sword, shadow looked like it was about to cut off his head. Demon subduing Vajra shield. Long Yu suddenly regained his senses, but it was too late for him to dodge. He only had time to condense a faint golden light on the surface of his body. Then he punched the flowing light sword shadow in front of him. With a loud bang, Long Yu was sent flying and fell to the ground. His fist, which had come into contact with the flowing light sword shadow, was drenched in blood. Luckily, the heaven-suppressing territory had weakened the power of Lu Yuan's attack. Otherwise, his entire arm would have been cut off by her. The phantom laws are actually so powerful. Long Yu had always thought that he was very strong-willed, but he still suffered under Lu Yuan's phantom laws of heaven and earth. He immediately knew that it was much more difficult to deal with Lu Yuan than Hua Buxi. Is that all? Lu Yuan walked over step by step and looked down at Long Yu, who had fallen to the ground. Her eyes were filled with disdain and disdain. She was not looking down on Long Yu's strength. Instead, she was mocking Long Yu for being dazed by her phantom laws of heaven and earth. This showed that Long Yu also had a psychological weakness. In reality, since Lu Yuan had started cultivating, Long Yu had woken up in the shortest time possible under her phantom laws of heaven and earth. Other young martial cultivators, even if they were at the same level as her, would be dazed for a few breaths' time under her phantom laws of heaven and earth. However, Long Yu's momentary daze had caused Lu Yuan to lose all goodwill towards Long Yu. Men are all the same. A cold smile hung on Lu Yuan's beautiful face. The pair of scarlet short swords in her hands flashed with a white flowing light again. Then, she slashed at Long Yu, who had fallen to the ground. Poof! The white flowing light of the sword instantly slashed at Long Yu's body. However, it was only an afterimage of Long Yu. 10,000 killer break. The tip of Long Yu's spear was filled with murderous intent. He appeared behind Lu Yuan in a flash and thrust his spear forward. The heaven-suppressing territory instantly spread out and enveloped Lu Yuan's delicate body. I was waiting for you to sneak up on me. Lu Yuan had long seen through Long Yu's tricks. She waved the scarlet sword in her hands and turned around to draw two white flowing lights. She accurately pointed them at the tip of Long Yu's spear. There was a loud bang. Where the sword and spear met, an extremely violent airflow exploded and sent both of them flying. Immortal spirit, appear. Before long, you could heave a sigh of relief. Lu Yuan immediately released her immortal spirit. A shadow of a black butterfly's immortal spirit bloomed behind her. It was accompanied by an even more powerful phantom aura that enveloped the entire area, causing Lu Yuan's speed to become even faster. In just a flash, Lu Yuan's alluring figure in black appeared in front of Long Yu. The white flowing light of the sword slashed down. She's so fast. Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. He immediately turned into ghost chi and condensed his figure above Lu Yuan's head. At the same time, the shadow of the heaven-suppressing sun appeared behind him. A beam of light from the scorching sun integrated with the overbearing suppression laws. It immediately shone on the black butterfly's immortal spirit shadow. The black butterfly's shadow had nowhere to hide under the illumination of the heaven-suppressing sun. 10,000 killer break. Long Yu's spear swept horizontally. Accompanied by a strong murderous intent, it stabbed towards Lu Yuan's figure below. However, Lu Yuan's speed was too fast. Even though she was enveloped by Long Yu's heaven-suppressing territory, Lu Yuan's figure was like a ghost in the night. She appeared and disappeared in a flash. There was no way to track her. One could imagine how fast Lu Yuan's speed would be if she was not suppressed by the heaven-suppressing territory. Break! A delicate shout came from above Long Yu's head. Then, he felt a tremor in his dantian. Heaven-suppressing sun. Lu Yuan was actually attacking Long Yu's immortal spirit. A white flowing light of the flowing light of the flowing light of the sword struck the shadow of the heaven-suppressing Sunday. It immediately caused a corner of the heaven-suppressing sun to collapse. At the same time, Long Yu's dantian trembled. Lu Yuan's actions were undoubtedly forcing Long Yu to withdraw the shadow of the heaven-suppressing Sunday otherwise. There was a possibility that she would completely destroy it. However, if Long Yu withdrew the heaven-suppressing sun, he would have no chance of winning at all. As for the immortal spirit of the dragon of 9 underworlds, in Long Yu's eyes, it was much more terrifying than Lu Yuan. After trying it once, he would not release it easily. You attack my mortal spirit, so I'll attack yours too. Long Yu held the spear in his hand horizontally. 10,000 killer. One spear strike, kill 10,000 people. How can a mere black butterfly like you stop me? Killing intent spread from the tip of the spear. He gathered all the strength in his body and pierced through Lu Yuan's black butterfly immortal spirit. Stop! Lu Yuan's dantian trembled. Then, with a delicate shout, she charged at Long Yu with the 2 red swords in her hands. Lu Yuan did not want to see a battle between immortal spirits. In her heart, how could Long Yu's sun immortal spirit be compared to her butterfly immortal spirit? Since she could not force Long Yu to withdraw his immortal spirit, she would fight him head-on. She did not believe that she would not be a match for Long Yu with her strength. After all, Long Yu had only just entered the true spirit realm. Although she could feel that Long Yu's basic strength was not inferior to hers, she had enough reason to believe that her control and use of strength definitely surpassed Long Yu's. You were the one who attacked my immortal spirit first. If I stop just because you tell me to, wouldn't that be very embarrassing? Long Yu laughed, and once again pierced a hole in the black butterfly immortal spirit. Then he seized the opportunity to turn around and release layers of spear shadows to block Lu Yuan's attack. However, Lu Yuan's speed was too fast. Chapter 113. Lu Yuan was too fast. Long Yu did not have time to use any martial arts techniques to dodge. However, at that moment, Lu Yuan felt a strange force entangling her, hindering her from moving. At this critical moment, Long Yu suddenly released the withering swamp concept from the strange grass. It actually produced a miraculous effect, slowing Lu Yuan's next attack by half a beat. Dodge! Long Yu immediately dodged and stood on the ground not far away. Rumble! Lu Yuan's sword slammed into the ground where Long Yu had been, causing the entire mine to tremble. The sound of countless rocks rolling traveled into their ears. What's going on? Both of their expressions changed. This situation seemed to be somewhat unusual, just like when the extreme Een fragment had appeared. One crack after another actually began to appear in the entire mine. But Long Yu could not care about anything else. Right now, his greatest enemy was Lu Yuan. Dragon Fist of the 9 Nether mimicked the Yellow Springs path. Long Yu punched out. Immediately, the 9 Nether aura mimicked the Yellow Springs path and extended towards Lu Yuan. Unfortunately, Lu Yuan was too fast. Even the Yellow Springs path did not have time to envelop her. Explosive flow of the 9 Nether. Long Yu punched the ground. Immediately, The place where Lu Yuan had just appeared seemed to be connected to the Yellow Springs. A gust of 9 nether aura immediately gushed out. But this time, Long Yu's sure-kill move did not kill her. Originally, Lu Yuan did not have time to escape. But at the same time the 9 nether aura pillar exploded, the mine beneath her feet suddenly cracked. Her alluring body, dressed in black, instantly sank into the cracks in the ground, just barely avoiding the explosive flow of the 9 nether that Long Yu had condensed. Then, before Long Yu had time to regret, a crack appeared beneath his feet, causing him to stumble. Oh no, dragon leap of the 9 nether. Long Yu reacted quickly. He gritted his teeth and wanted to leave. However, just as his spear swept out, wanting to use the airflow to sweep himself up, a large rock tumbled down from above his head, instantly smashing him into the depths of the crack in the ground. All he could see was darkness, and he fell into the crevice on the ground. He could only feel a terrifying yin qi rising from the ground, completely enveloping him. His body stumbled and fell deeper and deeper until he felt dizzy. Then he finally hit the ground and fell heavily to the ground. How unlucky! I actually fell into the ground. Long Yu thought to himself. Enduring the dizziness in his head, he immediately became alert. This place had such dense extreme yin qi underground. It was definitely the place where the extreme yin fragment was produced. Long Yu could not predict what would happen in such a place. He sensed carefully and discovered that the Tai yin qi underground was in an extremely violent state. He did not know what had happened. Very quickly, he discovered that the closer the lunar qi was to his chest, the more violent it became. Could it be that the 9 underworlds qi caused the lunar qi to become violent, causing the entire mine to collapse? As Long Yu thought to himself, he immediately condensed the heaven-suppressing sun behind him. A burst of intense sunlight immediately lit up the entire underground. In this pitch-black underground, where one could not even see their own fingers, only by releasing the heaven-suppressing sun could he quickly see the specific situation around him. However, when the light of the heaven-suppressing sun shone on the entire underground, Long Yu was suddenly stunned. The place he was in was not an underground crevice at all, but a completely sealed ancient stone room. This stone room was very small, about the size of an ordinary person's resting room. However, the surrounding walls were all gray, and he did not know what material they were made of. The stone room was surrounded by the same gray walls. Long Yu was puzzled. Where did he fall from? He raised his head and clearly saw that the top of the stone room was also completely sealed by the gray walls. There were no loopholes at all. In the entire stone room, in addition to him, there was also a woman in a black suit lying unconscious on the ground. It was Lu Yuan, who had fallen into the underground with him. Seeing that she was unconscious, Long Yu did not pay attention to her. Instead, he immediately began to check the stone room. Break! Long Yu condensed the strength of his entire body and punched the gray wall on the side. Soon, he found that the gray wall was extremely sturdy. His punch did not move it at all. With my strength, no matter what, it is impossible to break it. Long Yu's face darkened. In this way, how could he leave this completely sealed stone room? The unknown was the most terrifying thing. Now, Long Yu had no idea who built this sealed stone room, nor did he know what would happen next. In the Heavenly Mandate continent, there seemed to be many such mysterious places, but many of them were extremely dangerous places. After entering, there was no way one could come out alive. If this sealed stone room was also such a dangerous place, then what should he do? Long Yu cautiously began to check the entire sealed stone room to see if there was anything unusual. This was not difficult. Soon, he found that in the 4 walls of the stone room, there was a gray stone embedded. There was a total of 4 gray stones, and they were constantly emitting thick Tai yin qi. It's the Tai yin fragment. When Long Yu found the 4 Tai yin fragments, there was no need to mention how shocked he was. 1 Tai yin fragment could cause 4 experts in the 2nd tier of the true spirit realm to fight endlessly for it. It could even create a true expert like Mo Fengming, who was ranked third among the 9 young experts of the Tang Empire. But now, in the stone room where Long Yu was, there were 4 Tai-yin fragments all at once. Now, Long Yu finally had time to observe the Tai-yin fragments. With one look, he immediately understood why they were called lunar fragments. It was because these 4 gray stones looked like fragments that had fallen from a stone tablet. The 4 fragments all had edges and corners, so they were definitely man-made. The lunar fragment is actually a man-made object. However, who exactly is able to create such an object? Where is the complete stone tablet? Long Yu thought to himself as he began to study one of the Tai-yin fragments embedded in the wall. He reached out to touch it, and soon found that the Tai-yin fragment could move. As long as he injected qi into it and then pressed it hard, he could press it into the wall. What will happen if I press it? Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. He glanced sideways at Lu Yuan, who was unconscious in the middle of the stone room, and then turned his head back. No matter what, there was no other way, so he might as well give it a try. Long Yu made up his mind and pressed the Tai-yin fragment into the wall. Immediately after, Long Yu was on guard, afraid that some mechanism would suddenly appear and cause him to die without a burial ground. However, very quickly, he discovered that after he pressed down on the lunar fragment, there was no reaction from the entire stone room. Only the Tai-yin qi, which was already extremely thick, became even more violent. It surged towards his chest with all its might. Unfortunately, the 9 underworld's qi was much stronger than the Tai-yin qi. Once the Tai-yin qi got close to Long Yu, it would be completely suppressed. Long Yu let go of the Tai-yin fragment and found that the Tai-yin fragment protruded out of the wall again, as if it had never been touched. There are 4 Tai-yin fragments in this stone room. If I press them at the same time, will there be any difference? Long Yu thought to himself, but very quickly he found that it was impossible for him to press all 4 Tai-yin fragments at the same time. A martial cultivator at the first level of the True Spirit Secret Realm could, of course, release qi and use it to press the other 3 Tai-yin fragment from afar. However, Long Yu found that once the qi in his body came into contact with the yin qi in the stone room, it would immediately be corroded and devoured by the yin qi. It was impossible for him to release it so far to press a Tai-yin fragment. Qi would be devoured by the yin qi. Therefore, it was impossible to control an external object, such as the 9 underworld's dragon spear from afar, to press the Tai-yin fragment. Without the support of qi, it was impossible to control the Tai-yin fragment from afar, let alone press the Tai-yin fragment. Since normal qi doesn't work, what about the 9 underworld's qi? With a thought, Long Yu stood beside one of the Tai-yin fragments and tried to gather the 9 underworld's qi. He extended the 9 underworld's qi towards the other 3 Tai-yin fragments. The 9 underworld's qi would finally not be devoured by the yin qi. Did I succeed? Long Yu continued to work hard, but he soon found that with his current cultivation, he could only release 2 9 underworld's qi to press the other 2 Tai-yin fragments. There was only 1 Tai-yin fragment left, and he could not press it no matter what. The 9 underworld's qi that he extended was quickly surrounded by the Tai-yin qi, and the energy in Long Yu's body was quickly depleted. No, Long Yu frowned slightly. He temporarily gave up on the idea of pressing the 4 Tai-yin fragments at the same time and heaved a sigh of relief. He turned his head and looked at the unconscious Lu Yuan on the ground. He could not help but frown. I'm still 1 Tai-yin fragment away from pressing all 4 Tai-yin fragments. If I wake her up, just as he was thinking about this, the unconscious Lu Yuan on the ground began to tremble all over. Long Yu had the 9 underworld's dragon seal to help him resist the Tai-yin qi in the stone room. However, Lu Yuan had no way of resisting the invasion of the Tai-yin qi. Since she was trapped in the stone room, Long Yu had not paid any attention to her. At this moment, her entire body was being corroded by the Tai-yin qi. Save her first. Long Yu frowned slightly. Although he was a little unwilling, he had no choice but to save her in the current situation. If he could not leave this damn place, he would definitely die in a few days. If he wanted to leave, He had to try and press all 4 Taiyin fragments with Lu Yuan's help. Even if that did not work, the combined wisdom of 2 people would definitely be much better than Long Yu trying to think of a solution by himself. He acted as soon as he thought of it. Long Yu walked to Lu Yuan's side in a few steps and reached out to pull her soft body into his arms. Then, he activated the 9 Underworld's Dragon Seal and sent the 9 Underworld's Qi into Lu Yuan's Dantian and Meridians. This was the only method that Long Yu could think of. He would send the 9 Underworld's Qi in her body and then expel all the Taiyin Qi. This was an extremely complicated process. If he was not careful, he could completely destroy Lu Yuan's cultivation. If Lu Yuan had not fallen unconscious, Long Yu would not have succeeded. However, Long Yu's speed seemed to be a little slow. At this moment, Lu Yuan's body was being corroded by the Taiyin Qi. Her eyebrows had turned into frost, and her hair had turned into snow. Chapter 114. Corroded by the Netherworld Qi, one would die like a dried corpse. Lunar Qi, on the other hand, was more beautiful. It would freeze a person into ice. However, no matter which one it was, the final outcome was death. Get rid of it. Seeing this, Long Yu gritted his teeth and activated the Dragon Seal of the 9 Underworlds, allowing more Netherworld Qi to enter Lu Yuan's body. Lu Yuan's life force was rapidly draining away. Long Yu could not care less about damaging her meridians. He could only use the violent method of using the Netherworld Qi to expel the Lunar Qi from her body. Fortunately, Long Yu had made this decision early. As Lu Yuan's breathing became weaker and her heartbeat slowed, the Lunar Qi in her body was finally completely expelled by Long Yu. Immediately after, Long Yu withdrew the 9 Yu Qi from her body, then created a layer of 9 Yu Qi barrier on the surface of her body, preventing the extreme Yin Qi from invading her body. In order to leave this sealed stone room, Long Yu had risked his life. Creating a barrier of Netherworld Qi to protect Lu Yuan had almost used up all the energy in his body. However, he could only grit his teeth and persevere. Unless Lu Yuan woke up, once the barrier was removed, she would once again be corroded by the Lunar Qi. If that happened, even the gods would not be able to save her. Time passed bit by bit. Long Yu was in torment at every moment. He felt that all the energy in his body was about to be sucked dry, causing him to feel dizzy. If it had been someone else, without such a strong will to live, they would not have been able to persevere like him. Lu Yuan, wake up! Long Yu hugged Lu Yuan's soft body, trying to give her some warmth. At this moment, Lu Yuan's body was as cold as ice. However, in Long Yu's embrace, she finally regained some warmth. Her consciousness gradually returned, and her body gradually regained some warmth. However, her frosty eyebrows had turned into snow-white hair, and she could not recover no matter what. Lu Yuan was currently dressed in black. Her white hair hung down to her waist, and even her beautiful eyebrows had turned the color of frost. The erosion of the Tai Yin Qi caused her entire appearance to change drastically. As a result, she looked even colder than before. Her charm towards men did not decrease at all. Instead, it increased by a few notches. Her snow-white hair and frosty eyebrows gave her a sense of distance. It was this sense of distance that gave her a unique charm and attractiveness. As her body temperature gradually rose, she finally opened her starry eyes and saw Long Yu in his arms. Her expression changed, and she felt her body weaken. She didn't even have the strength to push Long Yu away. Lu Yuan's body, which had been corroded by the Lunar Qi, felt like she had just recovered from a serious illness. Right now, she was extremely fragile. You? Where are we? Lu Yuan frowned. Her woman's intuition told her that the surrounding atmosphere was strange. It was a completely enclosed stone chamber. Long Yu was hugging her tightly. Her body was covered with a layer of 9 underworld Qi, protecting her and separating her from the Taiyin Qi in the stone chamber. She could keenly sense that Long Yu was not in a good state. Perhaps she could kill Long Yu on the spot with a casual strike. However, if she killed Long Yu now, she would die as well. She was not stupid. Of course, she would not do that. She knew that Long Yu definitely had a reason for protecting her. Otherwise, it would be good enough if he did not kill her. Why would he save her? Don't move. Listen to me. Long Yu's voice was incomparably deep and low. That was because he truly did not wish to waste his remaining strength on speaking at a volume level. We are now in a completely enclosed stone chamber. The walls of the stone chamber are very sturdy. I have not found a way to escape. There are 4 Tai-yin fragments on the 4 walls. You can infuse profound chi into them and then press them all into the wall. I can't do it alone. You will be responsible for one of them. Let's work together and try pressing them all in. Don't have any other ideas. Without me, you will definitely not live for more than 2 hours. Think about it carefully. After Long Yu finished speaking, he waited for Lu Yuan's reply. His words were concise, but he had already said what needed to be said. As long as Lu Yuan was not stupid, she would definitely understand what he meant. There's no need to think about it. Let's begin. Lu Yuan found it difficult to speak, but she immediately made a decision. She believed that Long Yu had not lied to her. After all, she had been unconscious for so long. If Long Yu had wanted to do something to her, he would have had enough time to do so. Seeing that Long Yu did not seem to be able to hold on for much longer, she naturally would not waste any more time. All right, you will be responsible for this Tai-yin fragment. Infuse profound chi into it and press it into the wall. Long Yu extended his hand and pointed at the lunar fragment closest to him as he spoke with a solemn expression. Lu Yuan nodded and stood up with difficulty. Her snow-white hair flowed down to her waist, reflecting the astonished look in her star-like eyes. Her hair had actually turned snow-white, but now was not the time to think about this. She regained her senses and began to wonder. If she was responsible for pressing this Tai-yin fragment alone, then how could Long Yu press 3 Tai-yin fragments? She secretly tried and found that once the profound chi in her body left her body, it would immediately be corroded and swallowed by the thick Tai-yin chi in the stone room. It was impossible to press the Tai-yin fragment remotely. But very quickly, she found out the answer. Hold on for a while. After Long Yu finished speaking, he finally removed the layer of netherworld chi barrier on the surface of his body. Then, with a leap, he arrived at the wall opposite Lu Yuan. He easily pressed the extreme yin fragment into the wall. Without the Jiu-Yu chi barrier, the Tai-yin chi immediately invaded Lu Yuan's body again. This time, she was not in a comatose state, so she could grit her teeth and use all her strength to resist the corrosion of the Tai-yin chi. At the same time, she condensed profound chi between her white fingers and pressed the Tai-yin fragment into the wall. Then, under the invasion of the Tai-yin chi, she tilted her pretty face and carefully observed Long Yu. In her view, Long Yu pressed one hand against the wall and extended 2 fingers with the other hand. A strange pitch-black ripple was released from his fingers and connected to the other 2 walls. After that, the 2 pitch-black ripples instantly pressed down the moon fragments on the 2 walls. This strange pitch-black power is unique to him. I've never seen it before, and I don't know what kind of power it is to make me feel the aura of the Yellow Springs. Lu Yuan pondered as she remained vigilant of what could happen at any time. When the Tai-yin fragments on the 4 walls of the stone room were pressed into the walls, the entire stone room suddenly trembled. Then, the thick Tai-yin chi in the stone room seemed to be attracted by something and quickly gathered towards the center of the stone room. Something's happening. Long Yu's face lit up with joy. However, all the strength in his body had been used up, and he was not in a good state. Luckily, he knew that Lu Yuan did not have any fighting strength now. Otherwise, he would have to be on his guard against her. The 2 of them stood on the 2 sides of the stone room and looked towards the center of the stone room. The Tai-yin chi in the entire sealed stone room gathered towards the center of the stone room and actually began to condense, gradually forming a solid object. What could it be? Long Yu's heart skipped a beat as he carefully observed the scene. Under their gazes, all the Tai-yin chi completely condensed and actually formed a stone tablet in the center of the stone room that was missing a few corners. It's a stone tablet. Long Yu and Lu Yuan were stunned at the same time. This stone tablet was about 5 feet tall, which was about a head shorter than Long Yu. It emitted endless Tai Yin Qi and stood erect in the center of the stone room. As the stone tablet formed, the 4 Tai Yin fragments that were originally embedded in the 4 walls all turned into Tai Yin Qi and instantly condensed on the stone tablet in the center, turning into its 4 corners. All the Tai Yin Qi condensed together and actually formed a stone tablet. Is this stone tablet the complete Tai Yin fragment? If I succeed, I might be able to comprehend an extremely strong power from it. As Long Yu thought this, he raised his head to look at Lu Yuan, only to find that the beautiful girl was also looking at him. Clearly, both of them had the same thought. However, because the two of them could not use their full strength, they did not dare to make any moves and could only stay vigilant. Although Long Yu had just saved Lu Yuan, who knew if Lu Yuan would admit to it or not? And to Lu Yuan, Long Yu had only saved her to press down the Tai Yin fragment on the wall. Faced with the temptation of a precious treasure, it was very likely that he would attack her. Moreover, other than the threat of the other party, there was also the threat of the stone tablet itself. After all, neither of them knew what kind of existence the stone tablet was. Would there be any danger if they approached it? However, just as the two of them stood still and watched, something strange happened. They saw that the stone tablet was originally erected in the center of the stone room, but immediately after, the two of them realized that the stone tablet was flying towards them. The stone tablet has split. The two of them were shocked at the same time. The stone tablet formed from Tai Yin Qi actually split into 2 halves, each flying toward the two of them. Got it. Long Yu was a little braver. Seeing this, he directly leaped up and caught the half of the stone tablet in his hands. Tai Yin Heaven Tablet. The moment he touched the half of the stone tablet, these 4 words rang in Long Yu's mind. Tai Yin Heaven Tablet? Long Yu held the half of the stone tablet tightly in one hand and stood on the ground, his brows slightly furrowed. This stone was formed from Tai Yin Qi, so the word Tai Yin was something that Long Yu could understand. However, what do the 2 words Heaven Tablet mean? Could it be that this so-called Tai Yin Heaven Tablet was a treasure that was naturally formed in this world? Such an exquisitely carved stone tablet, although there are no words carved on it. It is obvious that it was chiseled. How could it be a treasure that was naturally formed? Long Yu suddenly thought about it and did not quite understand. However, immediately after, he remembered that on this heavenly mandate continent, even the weapons used by martial arts cultivators could develop their own consciousness. Even the wolf formed from Tai Yin Qi had its own consciousness. If this was the case, if this world had its own consciousness, then wouldn't it be normal to create such a stone tablet treasure? Chapter 115. After grabbing the half of the lunar heaven tablet, Long Yu raised his head and looked at Lu Yuan. He saw that she was also holding the other half of the lunar heaven tablet in her hands. The two of them looked at each other and saw the doubt in each other's eyes. The treasure seemed to be in their hands. How could they leave now? Also, such a large half of the lunar heaven tablet was filled with endless lunar qi. If they brought it to the outside world, wouldn't they be announcing to others that they had a treasure and wanted them to come and snatch it? Although Lu Yuan had reached the 2nd level of the true spirit realm, in the entire Tang Kingdom, it was really nothing. She couldn't even make it into the 9 great young experts, let alone the more powerful experts of the older generation. Although there was only half of such a large lunar heaven tablet, it would definitely attract the attention of some true experts, such as the sect leaders of the 7 sections. If these experts tried to snatch it, Lu Yuan had no chance of winning. She could only give up this half of the lunar heaven tablet. However, just as Long Yu and Lu Yuan were thinking about this, the half of the lunar heaven tablet in their hands suddenly shrunk to the size of a palm. The shrunken lunar heaven tablet was like a small jade pendant. Not only was it easy to carry, but it also contained the endless lunar qi. From the outside, no one could tell that it was a treasure. The two of them looked at each other and saw the surprise in each other's eyes. Immediately, Both of them felt a strange power enveloping them. Then, their vision blurred, and the entire grayish-white stone room disappeared. When they opened their eyes again, the sky was clear. The two of them had left the gray stone room and arrived at the collapse mine. Long Yu appeared on the eastern mountain peak, his black robe standing upright. Lu Yuan appeared on the western side. Her black robe revealed her graceful figure. Her snow-white hair hung down to her waist. From afar, she looked cold and elegant. The two of them looked at the center of the mine and saw that there were no signs of the mine collapsing. Even the corpses of the martial cultivators that had died in the mine had disappeared. The mine was restored to its original appearance, and even the yin qi began to dissipate rapidly. Under the blazing sun, the yin qi in the entire mine quickly evaporated. Not long after, the mine became like any other ordinary area, no longer shrouded in yin qi and filled with dense ghost qi. This place might soon no longer be a yin or vein. This might be a great loss to the Tang Empire, but to Long Yu and Lu Yuan, it was a great gain. Although both sides had only obtained half a piece of the Lunar Heaven Tablet, this half definitely contained a powerful energy. If one could comprehend it, who knew how much their strength would increase? Whether it was Long Yu or Lu Yuan, the two of them would definitely not be stupid enough to spread the news. After all, the two of them were the ones who benefited from this. If news of this were spread, it wouldn't benefit either of them. Lu Yuan turned around. Her slender body turned into a white sword shadow and quickly left. After a while, she disappeared without a trace. Long Yu looked at her alluring back and thought to himself, previously, Lu Yuan stopped Huofu for me, so I owe her a favor. But this time, I saved her life in the Lunar Stone Room, so I've repaid the favor. As for both sides obtaining half of the Lunar Heaven Tablet, they were even. Whether it was Long Yu or Lu Yuan, both of them definitely wanted to monopolize the treasures. However, both of them were exhausted, and neither of them wanted to fight again. Otherwise, if they were seen by others, wouldn't they be the ones to reap the benefits? After Lu Yuan left, Long Yu placed the shrunken half of the Lunar Heaven Tablet into his robes and turned to leave. The direction he was heading in was naturally where the Ling family villa was. Previously, I let Ling Han take away the lunar fragment. I wonder how he is now. As Long Yu thought, he was a little anxious. Also, he used a stone fragment and fused it with a 9 Hells Qi, pretending to be a lunar fragment to deceive Huofu and Baihang, causing them to fight. I wonder how Huofu and Baihang are now. Long Yu walked forward quickly, but he did not use the Dark Dragon Leap. Because the profound qi in his body was used up, he could only use Wind Flash, Ghost Flash, and other movement techniques that did not use up much energy. In the process of heading towards the Ling family villa, Long Yu activated his Dantian and quickly recovered the profound qi in his body. When he saw the large stretch of buildings in the Ling family villa from afar, he finally recovered most of the profound qi. But at this time, he suddenly felt a battle erupt not far away. A tyrannical aura of a true soul exploded from the front. What's going on? Long Yu's heart jumped, and he hurriedly ran over. Very quickly, he arrived at the place where the battle erupted and quietly hid behind a small hill. He glanced over, and the scene that entered his eyes made the flames of anger in his heart rise with a whoosh. In the field, Lu Guanming and Ling Han were struggling to hold on. Both of them had many wounds on their bodies, and one of Lu Guanming's arms was dripping with fresh blood. And the two of them were facing the 5th core disciple of the Jintian clan, Yao Yin. Yao Yin, who had been scared off by Huofu and Xiahou Tianjie, was now blocking the way back to the Ling family villa and attacking Ling Han and Lu Guanming. As for Ling Yue, she stood at the side, holding the lunar fragment in her hand. She bit her lips hard, and her face was pale. With her martial realm, she was completely useless in front of Yao Yin. Seeing Lu Guanming and Ling Han blocking in front of her, it was easy to imagine how she felt in her heart. Why are you still not handing over the treasure? On account that we are all disciples of the Jintian clan, I will not kill you. But if the two of you continue to resist, I will not be merciful." Yao Yan's eyebrows were like hooks, and his nose was high. He threatened Ling Han and Lu Guanming with a sinister expression. "You wish." Lu Guanming spat and said with a disdainful expression, "Trash like you, what right do you have to obtain the treasure that Brother Long risked his life to obtain? Even if I, Lu Guanming, put my life on the line, I will not let you get what you want. Kill." Meanwhile, Ling Han did not say a single word of nonsense. All of a sudden, he released a black metal chain, which instantly entangled Yao Yan. This black metal chain was the combat weapon that he had obtained from Lu Mingxian in ancient ginseng forest. While the other party was not paying attention, Ling Han threw out the metal chain, and it actually entangled Yao Yan. "Insignificant tricks. With just the two of you, how can you possibly be a match for me?" Yao Yan sneered. "I will let you know that the gap between true spirits is insurmountable." Following his words, the true spirit phantom of a heaven-suppressing round shield appeared behind him. Following that, a terrifying suppressive force descended and shattered the black metal chain into pieces. This scene caused Ling Han's expression to change. He had exhausted all his means, and now even the black metal chain had been shattered by Yao Yan. Yao Yan had already condensed his true spirit. The power of his true spirit was simply too strong. Ling Han could not help but think of a figure, Long Yu. How could that guy kill an expert at the first level of the true spirit realm with the power of the 9th level of the martial Tao? This was simply inconceivable. Just as he was thinking about this, a suppressive force that was even stronger than the one released by Yao Yan instantly descended from the sky. Following that, a figure that everyone was familiar with descended, black-clothed, holding the 9 nether dragon spear. Long Yu condensed his heaven-suppressing domain and instantly enveloped Yao Yan. The terrifying pressure made Yao Yan feel like he was being crushed by a mountain. His eyes were bloodshot, and he could not believe it. Long Yu, he actually condensed his true spirit. Yao Yan wanted to say this sentence, and then immediately wanted to say something, but Long Yu did not give him any chance at all. Attacking a fellow disciple and forsaking righteousness at the sight of profit, you deserve to die. Long Yu shouted, and then swept the 9 nether dragon spear. A dense killing intent gathered at the tip of the spear. 10,000 slaughter, 1 spear strike, killed 10,000 people. The 10,000 people kill spear art, which had reached the minor completion realm, was displayed by Long Yu. Yao Yan only felt a cold light flash in front of him. Being enveloped by the heaven-suppressing domain, he did not have the slightest ability to resist. The spear pierced through his chest and shattered his heart meridians. Yao Yan dead. With just one move, Long Yu killed Yao Yan. The 5th-ranked core disciple of the Jintian clan died, just like that. Right now, Long Yu only needed one move to deal with an opponent at the first level of the True Spirit's secret realm. From the moment Long Yu appeared to the moment Yao Yan's heart meridian shattered, only a moment had passed. To Yao Yan, this moment was like falling from heaven to hell. Originally, he thought that he would be able to snatch the lunar fragment and become the biggest winner of this operation. But in the end, he was killed by Long Yu with one move and even lost his life. However, to Ling Han, Lu Guanming, and Ling Yu, this moment was like going from hell to heaven. "Brother Long, you're here." Lu Guanming's black face was filled with excitement. The 3 of them had escaped the mine with the lunar fragment and naturally knew that Long Yu would be chased by the 4 experts and had been worried about him. Now that they saw a perfectly fine Long Yu appear in front of them, how could they not be happy? Not to mention that the current Long Yu had already condensed his true spirit and stepped into the True Spirit's secret realm. Once upon a time, Long Yu's martial Tao realm was even lower than Ling Han's. But now, he had far surpassed Ling Han and left him in the dust. "I'm here. Are you guys all right?" Long Yu put away the 9 nether dragon spear and smiled faintly. Yao Yan's corpse was lying on the ground with his eyes wide open, kicking up a cloud of dust. But no one paid attention to him. This Yao Yin had forgotten his principles at the sight of profit. Now that he had died under Long Yu's spear, he deserved to die. I'm fine, it's just old Lu. Ling Han frowned slightly and hurriedly supported Lu Guanming. I'm fine. Wasn't it just a palm strike from this beast? And some internal injuries? I'll be fine after resting for a while. Lu Guanming laughed loudly. But then, the black-faced man closed his eyes and fainted just like that. Chapter 116. In the Ling family mountain villa, they naturally could not obtain enough elixirs to heal Lu Guanming. Now, they could only return to the Jintian clan. Ling Han carried Lu Guanming and walked with Long Yu and Ling Yue in the direction of the Ling family mountain villa in search of 3 horses. Even though their martial realms were not low, it was better to ride horses for a long journey. This lunar fragment, Ling Yue walked side by side with Long Yu. She held the lunar fragment in her hand and wanted to return it to Long Yu. Since I gave it to you, it is yours. There is no need to consider me. Long Yu smiled faintly. He already had half of the lunar heavenly tablet. The lunar chi contained within it was probably thousands of times more than the lunar fragment. Under these circumstances, what use did he have for the lunar fragment? Of course, the matter of the lunar heaven tablet could be considered a secret shared between him and Lu Yuan. Even if it was Ling Han and the others, he could not tell them. Otherwise, it would very easily attract a fatal disaster, and that would be harming them. Hearing Long Yu say he did not want it, Ling Yue's beautiful eyes flashed with surprise. This lunar fragment was a treasure that even experts at the second level of the true spirit realm coveted. Long Yu actually said he did not want it? Brother Long, you risked your life to obtain this item. We are only protecting it. How can we take it for ourselves? Ling Han said with a serious expression. Brother Long, your cultivation talent is better than ours. In your hands, this lunar fragment will definitely be much more useful than in our hands. There's no need to say more. It is yours. Long Yu smiled. There is no need to stand on ceremony between brothers. Long Yu, do not lack this lunar fragment. Even if he had not obtained the half of the lunar heavenly tablet, Long Yu would not have wanted Ling Han's item. In the beginning, he had no interest in the lunar fragment. He had only come here because of Ling Han's invitation. However, he had not thought that so many things would happen. He had even condensed his true spirit in the mind, and even had a contest with an elite like Lu Yuan. Hearing Long Yu's words, Ling Han's face immediately became serious. Brother Long, in this life, if there's anything that Ling Han, can do, please send me. He was not prepared to reject the extreme Yin fragment. Ling Han understood the meaning behind Long Yu's words. He did not lack this lunar fragment. That meant that Long Yu had a greater harvest in this operation. This reward was probably condensing his true spirit and stepping into the true spirit realm. Ling Han still wanted to take back the Ling family manor that originally belonged to his father from Ling Tianba. How could he do that without strength? Just based on his current martial arts realm, it was completely wishful thinking. However, if he possessed the lunar fragment, this matter would perhaps become much simpler. Taking back the Ling family manor was a vow that Ling Han had made after his father's death 10 years ago. Long Yu had given him the lunar fragment so that he could complete his vow faster. To him, this was of great significance. I can't say that I need anything, but if there are any problems, as a brother, I will naturally do my best. Long Yu said, furthermore, didn't Senior Ling Han give me the superior ancient ginseng in the ancient ginseng forest? He could feel Ling Han's sincerity towards him. Since that was the case, he would repay him with sincerity. All right, you two, stop talking nonsense. We've arrived at the Ling family manor. Hurry up and find 3 horses to hurry back to the Jintian clan. Ling Yu clearly did not understand the passion of men. Her words ruined the mood as she pointed at the large group of buildings in front of them. Ling Han and Long Yu looked at each other and smiled. Then, they quickly moved forward. Soon, they arrived at the Ling family manor. Ling Yu ran to the stables and quickly came out in disappointment. There's not a single horse left. We saw Yin and Lu Shuqing leave earlier. They probably took the last two horses from the Ling family. These words made Long Yu frown slightly. The disturbance caused by the lunar fragment this time had a great impact on the Ling family manor. Not long after, the impact would definitely become even greater. Even the entire mine would be cleared of Yin energy. And when those who came to obtain the lunar fragment wanted to leave, they would undoubtedly come to the Ling family manor to get horses. This way, the 7 or 8 horses that the Ling family manor raised would not be enough. Go. Let's go take a look at other places. Long Yu quickly made a decision and turned to leave. If they wasted too much time looking for horses, Lu Guanming's injuries would probably worsen. At that time, it would be troublesome. However, just as he turned, he heard a familiar female voice from not far away. Long Yu, there are 2 horses here. Since you're in a hurry to leave, I'll let you have them first. A crisp and pleasant young girl's voice traveled into everyone's ears. Everyone looked toward the source of the voice and saw a beautiful young girl with waist-length snow-white hair. She seemed to be passing by on a white horse. Lu Yuan. Everyone recognized him at a glance. Apart from Lu Yuan, there was another young girl, Xian Yuya. She was Lu Yuan's junior sister. Both of them were riding on horses that they had brought with them from the Qingqing Pavilion. Lu Yuan? Why did her hair and eyebrows turn white? Ling Han and Ling Yu were instantly puzzled. Furthermore, did Lu Yuan and Long Yu know each other? She was actually willing to let him have 2 horses. Could it be that after they left with a lunar fragment, something happened between Long Yu and Lu Yuan? Immediately, a trace of wariness appeared in Ling Han's eyes as he looked at Lu Yuan. Senior sister, you're not joking, are you? Xian Yuya's face was full of hatred as she glared at Long Yu. Didn't this brat snatch the lunar fragment? Senior sister, you still want to lend your beloved horse to him. When Long Yu heard that, he knew that Lu Yuan did not tell Xian Yuya about the half-lunar heavenly tablet. Obviously, both of them knew very well in their hearts that once this matter was revealed, it would bring about endless trouble. Lu Yuan did not say anything in response to Xian Yuya's question. She only smiled faintly and jumped off the horse. She stroked the smooth fur of the snow-white horse and said softly, "Send him back to the Jintian clan and then come back to find me. Don't forget, this snow-white horse was raised by Lu Yuan since it was young. Even so, she was still willing to lend it to Long Yu." This scene made Ling Han, Ling Yu, and Xian Yuya feel even more incredulous. What exactly happened between Long Yu and Lu Yuan? In fact, when Xian Yuya saw Lu Yuan and saw her snow-white hair and snow-white eyebrows, she immediately raised her question. Unfortunately, Lu Yuan didn't say anything important. She only said that she fought with Long Yu and there was no clear winner. The situation before her made Xian Yuya even more puzzled. However, since Lu Yuan said that she fought with Long Yu and there was no clear winner, it must be true. At this moment, Xian Yuya was a little suspicious. Did senior sister have some special feelings for this Long Yu? Otherwise, she had never seen her lend her beloved horse to someone else. But senior sister Lu Yuan even rejected the invitation of Major General Long of the Tang Empire. Could it be that this Long Yu is even more outstanding than Major General Long? Xian Yuya could not understand. However, she had always listened to Lu Yuan. Disregarding everything else, she could condense her true spirit largely because of Lu Yuan's help. Now that Lu Yuan did not want to tell her something, she had no right to say anything. Since senior sister has decided, then so be it. However, we only have 2 horses, and they have 4 people. How are we going to ride them? Xian Yuya jumped off the horse and looked at Long Yu and the other 3 people. I don't care. Lu Yuan's star-like eyes flashed with a hint of indifference. All right, let's go. We'll look for horses somewhere else. We'll find one if we spend some time. After saying this, she turned around and left with Xian Yuya. From the beginning to the end, Long Yu did not say a word. He was also very puzzled. Why was Lu Yuan willing to lend him the horse? However, no matter what, they did not have to waste time looking for horses anymore. Consider it as me owing you again. Long Yu chuckled as he watched Lu Yuan's silhouette disappear from his sight. He focused his gaze on the snow-white horse. The snow-white horse was obviously very obedient to Lu Yuan, although it was a little unwilling. After Lu Yuan left, it took the initiative to walk towards Long Yu. As for Xian Yueya's horse, it was not so obedient. Ling Han did not think much. He carried Lu Guanming and rode on Xian Yueya's horse. There are only 2 horses. Yue, you can ride with Brother Long. Ling Han laughed loudly, spurred his horse around, and began to gallop away. Lu Guanming was injured and could not delay for too long. Long Yu rode on Lu Yuan's white horse and let Ling Yue's petite body sit in front. Then, he urged the horse to gallop too. Why do I feel like Ling Han is up to something? Long Yu held the reins and hugged Ling Yue in his arms. No matter how he thought about it, something was wrong. That Ling Han actually threw his sister into his arms, just like that. Moreover, it seemed like he could not wait. Unbeknownst to him, Ling Han had always admired Long Yu very much, and felt that Long Yu was someone he could confide in. Now that he had seen Long Yu's incomparably terrifying talent, he naturally knew that Long Yu would have great achievements in the future. He only had one sister, Ling Yue, and his sister was going to marry sooner or later. Now that such an outstanding fellow like Long Yu had appeared, how could he not think about his sister's future? Originally, Ling Han was not anxious. However, now that Lu Yuan had appeared and borrowed a horse, he felt a sense of danger. If the opponent was Lu Yuan, then his sister had no chance of winning at all. Because of this, Ling Han deliberately carried Lu Guanming and rode away on a horse. He purposely let Ling Yue and Long Yu share a horse to create an opportunity for her. Sister, as your brother, I can only help you this much. Ling Han urged the horse forward, extremely emotional. Meanwhile, Long Yu and Ling Yue sat together on Lu Yuan's horse and followed closely behind them. As the snow-white horse galloped, their bodies would naturally touch each other. This caused Ling Yue's face to turn slightly red. Brother, do you want to die? Ling Yue naturally knew her brother's plan and was filled with hatred. Other than Ling Yue, there was another girl who was also filled with hatred. At the top of a pavilion in the Ling family villa, Lu Yuan was dressed in black, her snow-white hair flowing in the wind. Her starry eyes reflected the scene of Long Yu and Ling Yue riding her snow-white horse and leaving the Ling family villa together. This caused a trace of hatred to appear on her face. You, Long Yu, actually riding my beloved horse with another girl? Chapter 117. They galloped all the way. After 2 days, Long Yu and the others finally arrived at the Jintian clan and got off the horse at the entrance of the Suppression Canyon. Ling Yue jumped off the white horse and ran away with a red face, leaving Long Yu feeling a little awkward. He also dismounted from his horse. As soon as he saw the snow-white horse, he thought of Lu Yuan's snow-white long hair and her exquisite figure. It gave him a strange feeling. Lu Yuan might have borrowed the horse to express something, but Long Yu was not sure. At this time, it was better not to think too much, lest he wasted his feelings. The white horse did not stop outside the Suppression Canyon for long. It turned around and ran away, clearly returning to the Qingchang Pavilion to find Lu Yuan. Let's go find Elder Bai and ask for medicine. 2 days have passed, and senior brother Lu still hasn't woken up. His injuries are not light, Long Yu said as he followed Ling Han. Brother Long, you seem to be quite familiar with Elder Bai. I'll leave this matter to you. Ling Han said solemnly. I'll try my best, Long Yu said. Even he could not guarantee that he would be able to get the elixir from Elder Bai. After all, he was just a junior. Although Elder Bai seemed to admire him, it was one thing to take out the elixir to save his friend. Ling Han and Ling Yu watched as Long Yu carried the unconscious Lu Guanming up the mountain path that led to the top of the canyon. At the fork in the road, Ling Han and Ling Yu watched Long Yu's back. Sister, what do you think of Brother Long? These 2 days, he didn't do anything to you on horseback, did he? Ling Han asked eagerly. Brother, what are you thinking? Ling Yue glared at him. I'm your sister. How can you push your sister into someone else's arms? Brother Long is not someone else. I want him to be my brother-in-law. Ling Han said with a serious expression. You. Ling Yue's face turned red with anger. She clenched her fists but did not know what to say. In the end, she could only turn around and leave. Hey, you, I'm doing this for your own good. Didn't you see that Lu Yuan from the tumultuous pavilion lent her beloved horse to Brother Long? If we don't take the initiative to attack, it's very likely that Brother Long will be snatched away. Ling Han hurriedly chased after Ling Yue, wanting to reason with her. You're the one who's afraid he'll be taken away, aren't you? If you want to be with him, you can go yourself. Ling Yu blushed and refused to turn around. When Ling Han heard this, he stumbled and knelt down in front of his sister. Long Yu brought Lu Guanming to the top of the canyon. Master Bai and Master He were still playing a game of chess. They didn't even look at Long Yu when they saw him. Only the pretty girl, Liao Lele, who was wearing a blue robe, seemed a little unhappy as she welcomed him. Long Yu, this is the pill that Master told me to give you. It can heal this senior brother's injuries. After saying this, Liao Lele tossed a small porcelain bottle to Long Yu. Long Yu caught the small porcelain bottle with a joyful expression. Thank you, Senior Bai. Master said that you don't need to thank him. He will naturally ask for this favor from Elder Yu. Liao Lele said expressionlessly. Long Yu thought in his heart, so it turns out that Elder Bai only gave him this pill because of Elder Yu Shuiyan. However, he was a little curious. This Liao Lele had always been carefree in the past. Why did he seem to have encountered something unhappy now? Liao Lele, what's wrong? Did someone bully you? Long Yu asked while feeling a little strange. This Liao Lele had been cultivating with Master Bai and had been staying at the top of the canyon. She shouldn't have been bullied by anyone, right? No one bullied me. Liao Lele pursed her lips. It's just that someone went out and hooked up with quite a few girls. How carefree. Hooked up with quite a few girls? Long Yu was startled. Is he talking about me? Could it be that Liao Lele was jealous? But since when did he hook up with any girls? Still trying to act dumb? Liao Lele looked at Long Yu's expression and harumphed. My master said that the white horse you rode back is a breed unique to the Qingqing Pavilion. It possesses quite a bit of intelligence and can even cultivate Xian Qi and condense a true spirit. The Qingqing Pavilion is full of women. Which beauty from the Qingqing Pavilion did you hook up with to get her to lend you her beloved horse? Hearing this, Long Yu was a little surprised. Lu Yuan's snow-white horse possessed quite a bit of intelligence and could cultivate Xian Qi and condense a true spirit. With Xin Yuia's cultivation, she was definitely one of the top core disciples in the Qingqing Pavilion. However, even she did not have such a horse. Only the most important people in the Qingqing Pavilion would have such a horse. Long Yu did not respond to Liao Lele's words because he did not know how to explain it. Moreover, why should he explain it? It's only been a few days, and you've already condensed a true spirit. You really can't judge a book by its cover. Liao Lele did not dwell on this question. Instead, he sized up Long Yu and said, TSK, impressive, impressive. Can't judge a book by its cover? Long Yu thought to himself, do I not look like someone who can condense a true spirit? That's really sad. But now is not the time for idle chatter. Long Yu laid Lu Guanming's body on the ground and took the cup of water that Liao Lele brought over. He opened the bottle and took out the elixir, mixed it with water, and fed it into Lu Guanming's mouth. Lu Guanming's injuries were internal. If he did not consume the elixir, his injuries would definitely worsen. But after consuming the elixir, he would be fine after resting for a while. Then, Long Yu bade farewell to Liao Lele and the black and white elders and left the Heaven Suppression Canyon with Lu Guanming. He wanted to bring Lu Guanming to Yu Shuiyun and find the sect leader, Bai Yun. On the way back, Ling Han told him that in the Jintian clan, once a disciple condensed a true spirit, it would be a great event worthy of celebration. Firstly, the sect would give the disciple a high-ranked combat weapon as a reward. Secondly, there would be an additional month of cultivation time in the valley. Most importantly, the sect would obtain the identity token of a true spirit realm disciple and head to the second floor of the Elder's Pavilion to pick a spiritual martial skill to cultivate. Every disciple who condensed a true spirit was extremely precious to the 7 sects of the Great Tang Kingdom. Most of the sect's cultivation resources were given to the disciples in the true spirit realm. Of course, other than that, the most important thing was that the sect leader would personally guide them on the path of cultivation after they stepped into the true spirit realm. Regarding this, Long Yu was rather concerned. After all, cultivation was not a straight path, but a correct path that had been discovered by countless people. The experience of a senior was extremely important. While Long Yu sent Lu Guangming back to the Elder's Pavilion to search for Yu Shuiyun and Bai Yun, a huge matter related to Long Yu happened in the Great Tang Kingdom's Imperial City. Lu Mingcheng of the Imperial City's Lu family brought Wang Tianjua, who had been crippled by Long Yu, back to the Imperial City. Due to the death of the 2 true spirit realm guards, LV Taohua and Luo Liangfu, the Wang family's housekeeper, Gu Hibo, personally took care of this matter. Gu Hibo was an important figure in the Wang family, unlike Wang Tianjua and Lu Mingcheng, who were juniors. In the entire Wang family, Gu Hibo had considerable authority. It could be said that if Gu Hibo was angered, the entire Imperial City would be shaken. From this, it could be seen that Gu Hibo's power was not small, and the people he sent were much stronger than Lu Mingcheng. He immediately gave the order to thoroughly investigate Long Yu's identity. Not only did he send people to the Ling family's villa, he also listened to Wang Tianjua's words. He sent people to Jade Pass City to investigate. The results were quickly out. Ling Tianba of the Ling family's villa, upon seeing that it was the Wang family's housekeeper, Gu Hibo's men, did not dare to lie and immediately stated that Long Yu did not grow up in the Ling family's villa. As for Jade Pass City, it was even smoother. Not long ago, the 4 great families of Jade Pass City were shaken. Among them, the Feng family had almost collapsed, with only a patriarch and a few dozen people remaining. Once Gu Hibo's men went to Jade Pass City, they easily found out that the Feng family's patriarch, Feng Chang'e, had a foster son named Long Yu. This Long Yu's meridians were blocked at the start, and he was unable to cultivate. He was viewed as trash by everyone. However, not long ago, this Long Yu rose to power, and in the Feng family's gathering, he fought 1 against 3 and defeated the patriarchs of the other 3 great families of Jade Pass City. After receiving all this news, Gu Hibo immediately began to guess. This youth is called Long Yu, 18 years old. Whether it is his name, age, or appearance, they all match the rumors. This person must be the son of the fellow who expelled the Long family more than 10 years ago. Long Zaiqian's son, Long Yu. This news was quickly passed on by Gu Hibo. Although Long Yu had caused losses to the Wang family, if the Wang family wanted to find Long Yu and take revenge, they did not need the Wang family to personally act. As long as this news was spread, there would definitely be many people who would want to take Long Yu's life. Originally, Long Yu had been deliberately protected by some people, and no one knew his true identity. As for those who knew his identity and wanted to find him, they did not know where he was, no matter what. But now his identity had finally been exposed. In a short time, some of the Great Tang Imperial City's forces began to stir. This was because the news that Gu Herbert released at the same time wasn't only about Long Yu's identity and his current location, but also his flattery towards Long Yu. 3 months ago, he was a trash who could not cultivate, but now he had already condensed his true spirit and stepped into the true spirit realm. These words were somewhat exaggerated by Gu Hibo. After all, Long Yu had spent more than 3 months cultivating to condense his true spirit. However, exaggeration had its own benefits. The more exaggerated it was, the more it could reflect Long Yu's terrifying talent, and the more people would pay attention to him. It took less than a day for the news to spread throughout the city. Not only were some of the Great Tang Empire's nobles interested, even the common people were very interested, because many people still remembered that 18 years ago, the great General Long Zaiqian who fought for the Great Tang Empire, had colluded with foreign enemies and was expelled from the Great Tang Empire. Chapter 118. Just as the news about Long Yu spread throughout the Great Tang Imperial City, Long Yu met Sectmaster Bai Yun in the Jinqing clan. He had already handed Lu Guanming over to Yu Shuiyun. With Yu Shuiyun's care, that black-faced brat would definitely recover soon. Then, he went to the sect master's hall and found Bai Yun, who was chatting with Bufang. Haha, Junior Brother Long, I heard that you formed your true spirit. Now that I see it, it's really not bad. Upon seeing Long Yu, Boo laughed arrogantly and looked at Long Yu as if he was looking at a monster. Back then, when I condensed my true spirit, I was already 20 years old. Who would have thought that you would be able to step into the true spirit realm at the age of 18? Sectmaster. Long Yu cupped his fists and bowed to Bai Yun. Then, he looked at Bufang and smiled. Senior Brother Bu, if you had my luck, you would have formed your true spirit much earlier than me. Luck? Bufang shook his head. No matter how good one's luck is, without talent and hard work, it's impossible to form a true spirit. Since you're here, I'll go cultivate first. Master has something to say to you. And Long Yu nodded his head and looked at the black-robed figure walking away. Very quickly, he disappeared from sight. Bai Yun looked at Long Yu with a gratified expression. You really didn't disappoint me. As expected of the flesh and blood of Long Zaiqian and Bei Yu Yao. Come, tell me, what kind of miraculous encounter did you have in the Ling family villa? Long Yu was quite familiar with the name Long Zaiqian. Whenever he looked at the 9 nether dragon spear in his hand, this name would appear in his mind. But when he heard Bei Yu Yao, he still felt a little unfamiliar. This name belonged to his mother, but he had never seen her or heard anyone else mention her other than Bai Yun. What kind of woman was Bei Yu Yao? Long Yu clenched his fists. He deeply felt that his current strength was far from enough. He didn't even have the right to find his mother. Then, he gave a rough account of what happened in the Ling family villa. Of course, he left out the part where he and Lu Yuan were in the lunar stone room. All right, sect leader is knowledgeable. Do you know what the heavenly monument is? After Long Yu finished, he frowned and asked, Heaven Steel? Track of White Cloud was taken aback, as though he had not expected to hear that word from Long Yu's mouth. Where did you learn about the divine steel? Tracks of White Cloud reacted. His mustache twitched as a strange look appeared in his eyes. Normally, only super experts who have reached the level of one with the world would be able to come into contact with this thing. Even I will probably never be able to reach that level in my lifetime. The realm of the unity of heaven and man. Long Yu's expression changed slightly. This was the second time he had heard of this term. The first time was when he followed Yu Shuiyun to the Imperial Ginseng Forest. Yu Shuiyun said that if he could achieve the realm of oneness of heaven and man, he would be able to fly. There were only a few people who could do that in the entire Tang Empire. The second time was what Track of White Cloud was talking about. Unexpectedly, even White Cloud Tracks felt that he would never be able to reach that level in his lifetime. What kind of realm was one with the world? The Heaven Steel was something that only experts of this level could come into contact with. Didn't that mean that the lunar Heaven Steel had great potential? No wonder a mere lunar fragment could create Mo Fengming, who was ranked 3rd among the Tang Empire's 9 great young experts. The Tang Empire's 9 great young experts were all young experts under the age of 25. For example, Feng Yun was only ranked 8th among them. As for the 9th, it was the Broken Blade sex expert, Duan Mie. The difference between Feng Yun and Mo Fengming was the difference between the 8th and 3rd among the 9 great young experts. If they fought, Feng Yun would not even be able to take one move from Mo Fengming. Although I only obtained half of the lunar Heaven Steel, it seems that even half is an incredible existence. Long Yu thought to himself, looking forward to the power contained within the lunar Heaven Steel. Looks like you're quite lucky to have obtained the Heaven Steel. Tracks of White Cloud said with a smile that was not a smile. It seemed like he had seen through Long Yu, but he did not dwell on this matter. Long Yu obtaining the Heaven Steel was a good thing for Long Yu, the Jinqiang clan, and tracks of White Cloud. The Heaven Steel was an existence that even tracks of White Cloud had never seen before. If Long Yu obtained the Heaven Steel, his future would be limitless, and he would definitely walk further than tracks of White Cloud. Since you've entered the True Spirit Secret Realm, I can tell you more about the cultivation of the True Spirit Secret Realm. Tracks of White Cloud avoided the topic of the Heaven Steel and said while stroking his mustache, "The 9 stages of the martial path that people often talk about are actually the 3 stages of the body-tempering secret realm, gathering Xian Qi internal strength, and Xian Qi external release. It's just that each stage is also divided into 3 levels according to strength, which is why there are 9 stages of the martial path. As for the True Spirit Secret Realm, it is actually called the 3 transformations of the True Spirit. The first transformation is to form an illusory image. The second transformation is to form a physical body. And the third transformation is the unity of the True Spirit. The stages of the True Spirit Secret Realm are also divided into 3 levels according to strength, which is why the True Spirit Secret Realm is also divided into 9 levels. From the first to the 3rd level of the True Spirit Secret Realm is to form an illusory image and strengthen it. At the 4th level, the True Spirit has to form a physical body to continue to strengthen. The physical body of the True Spirit is at least 10 times stronger than the illusory image, so it won't be easily defeated. Finally, there is the unity of the True Spirit, which is the 7th level of the True Spirit Secret Realm, all the way to the 9th level. The unity of the True Spirit is the prelude to the unity of the heavens and man. I can't tell you much about the unity of the heavens and man, but the unity of the True Spirit is the fusion of the True Spirit with your True Spirit, borrowing the power of the laws of heaven and earth. This is the transformation of the soul of a martial cultivator. Hearing tracks of White Cloud's words, Long Yu finally had a comprehensive understanding of the True Spirit Secret Realm. The 3 changes of the True Spirit could describe the entire cultivation process of the True Spirit Secret Realm. First, the illusory image of the True Spirit would be formed, then the True Spirit would be condensed into a physical body, and finally, the unity of the True Spirit. Illusory image, physical body, unity of the True Spirit. The unity of the True Spirit was also the prelude to the unity of the heavens and man. It could be inferred that the unity of the heavens and man realm would be after the 9th level of the True Spirit Secret Realm. This realm could be said to be a legendary realm in the entire Great Tang country. Of course, the current Long Yu was too far away from the unity of the heavens and man realm. It was a height that even someone as strong as tracks of White Cloud could never reach. Sect Leader, what's your current realm? Long Yu couldn't help but ask. If you really want to know, you can ask me after you've condensed your True Spirit into a physical body. Tracks of White Cloud stroked his beard and smiled. Long Yu was speechless. He could only guess that Tracks of White Cloud had already condensed his True Spirit into a physical body, but he didn't know if he had reached the 3rd level of the True Spirit Secret Realm, the unity of the True Spirit. If Tracks of White Cloud didn't mention it, Long Yu would know. When a strong martial artist observed someone weaker than them, they would be able to tell their cultivation from a glance. However, when a weak martial artist observed someone stronger than them, they could only make a rough guess. If it was only the 2nd or 3rd level of the True Spirit Secret Realm, Long Yu could easily guess his opponent's realm. However, the gap between him and Tracks of White Cloud was too huge. He couldn't figure it out no matter what. All right. If you have any questions during your cultivation, feel free to ask me. Tracks of White Cloud said with a smile. As for now, this is the identity token of a disciple of the True Spirit Secret Realm. With this token, you can go to the 2nd floor of the Elder's Pavilion and choose a spirit-level martial skill to cultivate. Long Yu received the Jade token that Tracks of White Cloud tossed over and nodded his head to indicate that he understood. Also, you can choose a high-rank combat weapon. However, since you already have this Qian Dragon Spear, you can choose a defensive combat weapon. Tracks of White Cloud explained, although a high-ranked combat weapon can't defend against the attacks of a true spirit secret realm expert, it's impossible for a martial cultivator who hasn't condensed his true spirit to hurt you. However, Long Yu shook his head. He had cultivated the demon subduing tyrant body, and the effect of this body-tempering martial skill had been improving along with his cultivation realm. Currently, he didn't need a high-ranked defensive combat weapon to be able to hurt a martial cultivator who hadn't condensed his true spirit. If he chose a defensive combat weapon, wouldn't that be an unnecessary move? Furthermore, a mere high-ranked combat weapon seemed to be a little too low for Long Yu's level. The 9 Nether Dragon Spear in his hand was a spirit-level combat weapon, and after being infused with the 9 Nether Chi and engraved with the 9 Nether Runes, it had become a supreme spirit-level combat weapon. As for the martial skill he was about to cultivate, the second skill of the 9 Nether Dragon Fist, the Reincarnation Awakening Palm, it was a supreme spirit-level martial skill. A common-level high-rank combat weapon was completely useless to him now. According to the rules, you still have a month to cultivate in the valley. Tracks of White Cloud looked at Long Yu and shook his head and said helplessly, "However, now that you've comprehended the heaven-suppressing domain, you don't need this month to cultivate in the valley anymore. You can give up this 1 month of cultivation time and go get a spirit-grade combat weapon. What do you think? Is comprehending domain the limit of cultivating a mental cultivation technique?" Long Yu asked with a slight frown. That's not the case. Above domain is the law. Only by comprehending the heaven-suppressing law can you be considered to have completely comprehended the heaven-suppressing chant. Tracks of White Cloud stroked his mustache. However, it's extremely difficult to transform a domain into a law, and it's definitely not something that can be achieved by cultivating in the valley. You'll have to find out for yourself. After all, the mastery of law is similar to the power of the heavenly steel. It's something that belongs to the realm of one with the heavens and human. One with the heavens and human again. Long Yu pondered for a moment, then nodded his head. Then I'll choose a spirit-level combat weapon. Spirit-level combat weapons. Our Jintian clan doesn't have many in stock. Tracks of White Cloud reminded, alchemists our Jintian clan does have old buy, but we don't have any weapon refiners. These spirit-level combat weapons were exchanged for by old buy in the Imperial City after he refined spirit-level pills. A weapon refiner, as the name suggested, was a master who refined combat weapons. I see. Long Yu was stunned. The Jintian clan only had one alchemist, and not a single weapon refiner. It was obvious how important alchemists and weapon refiners were in the Heavenly Mandate continent. Chapter 119. Elder Bai was a pill alchemist, and since he had taken a liking to Liao Lele as his disciple, it was obvious that he wanted to teach her pill alchemy techniques and slowly train her. Does that mean that Liao Lele has some talent in pill alchemy? Long Yu pondered, but did not think too much about it. Be it pill alchemy or weapon refinement, they were both extremely difficult and require a lot of effort. Long Yu's focus now was on his cultivation. Only by continuously improving his martial skills could he ensure his own safety. As for pill alchemy or weapon refinement, Long Yu had no time to learn them. After exiting the clan leader's palace, Long Yu proceeded to the second floor of the Elder's cabinet to see if there were any decent spirit-ranked martial skills and weapon refinement. Although there weren't many spirit-ranked martial skills, it was still worth a look to see what he could choose from. Ever since Wu Jianxin's cultivation was crippled by Bai Zong and he was expelled from the Jintian clan, the Elder's cabinet had been managed by Yu Shuiyan. When Long Yu arrived at the Elder's cabinet, he saw Yu Shuiyan resting with her eyes closed, while the black-faced Lu Guanming lay unconscious in the room. Long Yu, you're here. Yu Shuiyan opened her eyes, and there was a hint of admiration in them. Follow me. Sect Master has told me everything just now. After saying this, he turned around and headed to the second floor of the Elder's cabinet. Both the spiritual weapons and the spiritual martial skills were placed on the second floor of the Elder's cabinet. They were the most tightly guarded because they were the foundation of the heaven-suppressing sect. Disciples who had not entered the true spirit secret realm were not allowed to enter the second floor of the Elder's Cabinet. Long Yu followed Yu Shuiyun to the second floor of the Elder's Cabinet and discovered that although it was only a bamboo building, it was protected by a layer of law-suppressing barrier. Even if it was attacked by a true spirit secret realm cultivator, the entire Elder's Cabinet was as solid as a rock and would not suffer any damage. Yu Shuiyun gathered his heaven-suppressing force and imprinted it on the bamboo door of the Elder's Cabinet before removing the law-suppressing barrier and opening the door. In order to enter the second level of the Elder Cabinet, one must at least comprehend the heaven-suppressing mantra's force of heaven and earth. Spirit-ranked martial skills are in the room on the left, and spirit-ranked weapons are in the room on the right. You can choose for yourself. I'll be going down first. Yu Shuiyun pointed at the room and smiled warmly. She then turned around and left. Long Yu looked over and saw many stone steels in the room on the left. Each of the stone steels had the cultivation methods for different martial techniques carved on them. The rooms on the right were divided into different categories, with some spirit-grade combat weapons placed on display. As long as it was a spirit-grade weapon, it would be placed here. However, Yu Shuiyun had left without any supervision. Obviously, she was giving Long Yu the highest authority. No matter what grade the weapon was, he could take it away if he wanted. Of course, the number was limited to 1. Long Yu was slightly more interested in the combat weapon, so he strode into the room where the combat weapon was kept. As soon as he stepped into it, a wave of dense battle weapon spiritual chi rushed toward him. These are all spirit-grade combat weapons. There are low-ranked, mid-ranked, and even high-ranked combat weapons. With a casual glance, Long Yu found that there were more than 10 combat weapons in the room. Aside from low-ranked and mid-ranked combat weapons, there were 2 high-ranked combat weapons. One of the 2 high-ranked combat weapons was a white gown that was shining brightly. It was made from the feathers of some kind of bird-type demon beast, and it was completely white. It seemed to have an extraordinary defensive ability, and it could even increase the speed of a martial practitioner. Starting from a spirit grade, combat weapons would be engraved with a unique weapon refining formation, which could increase the combat power of the combat weapon. For example, this glowing white gown was called the White Flowing Feather Shirt. It was engraved with a speed increasing formation. Although it was a defensive combat weapon, it could still increase the speed of a martial practitioner. The other high-ranked spirit-grade combat weapon was a longsword. Long Yu already had the 9-Yu Dragon Spear, so he had no interest in the longsword. There are only 2 high-ranked spirit-grade combat weapons. Aside from the longsword, it seems like I can only choose that white flowing feather shirt. Long Yu pondered as he walked towards the white flowing feather shirt. Right now, what he lacked the most was speed. This white flowing feather shirt could increase his speed, which was quite suitable for him. However, when he walked towards the white stream feather gown, he suddenly noticed that there was another battle weapon placed next to the white stream feather gown. This combat weapon was also made from the feathers of some bird-type demon beast. However, it was shaped like a pair of wings and was covered with white feathers. A pair of wings? Long Yu's heart skipped a beat. He picked up the pair of wings that were covered with white feathers and realized that the winged combat weapon was as long as 3 zhong when fully stretched out. However, the weapon refining formation on it seemed to have been damaged, which made it look less like a spirit-grade combat weapon. The label on the pair of white wings said, "Broken Wings of the Ghost Valley, Super Spirit Grade Combat Weapon." Wings of the Ghost Valley? Or Broken One? However, this was actually a super spirit grade combat weapon. He tried to communicate with the pair of white wings with his Xian Qi and found that the basic functions of the wings were still good, but the weapon refining formation had been damaged. However, a super spirit grade combat weapon, just its basic functions alone, were definitely very powerful. Let's see how it works. With a thought, Long Yu activated the wings of the Ghost Valley with his Xian Qi. Immediately, the wings of the Ghost Valley fully extended and connected with Long Yu's back with his Xian Qi. Flash! With a thought, Long Yu quickly flashed in the room. The white wings flashed with a bright light and actually increased Long Yu's running speed by 3 to 4 times. This speed, it's so fast. Long Yu's eyes lit up. Although this Wings of the Ghost Valley was a broken combat weapon, as a super spirit grade combat weapon, its basic functions were quite terrifying. With this pair of Wings of the Ghost Valley, his running speed could be increased by a few times. This was something that could save his life. Most importantly, there was a big difference between activating a battle weapon and activating a movement skill. Activating a battle weapon consumed very little of one's profound chi. During a long period of pursuit, the Wings of the Ghost Valley was comparable to a divine weapon. As for the high-rank combat weapon, the White Stream Feathered Shirt, its function was more focused on defense, and its speed improvement was definitely not as good as the Wings of the Ghost Valley. Then I'll choose the Wings of the Ghost Valley. Long Yu made his decision. Of course, he wanted to take the Wings of the Ghost Valley and the White Stream Feathered Shirt, but Yu Shuiyin trusted him so much he couldn't just take them away. If he had to choose between the two, the Wings of the Ghost Valley was more suitable for him. Long Yu dispersed his Xian Qi, and the Wings of the Ghost Valley fell from his back into his hand. The frame of the Wings of the Ghost Valley was very soft, and it wasn't troublesome to carry it around. He just needed to fold it and hide it in his chest. When it was time to use it, he only needed to use his Xian Qi to activate it. I'm satisfied with the combat weapons. Next, let's look at the spirit level martial skills. Long Yu thought as he walked towards the martial skill room on the other side. The spirit level martial skills were all engraved on stone tablets. In the whole room, there were a total of 20 stone tablets. Long Yu glanced at each of them and found that they were at most high-ranked spirit-level martial skills. Even the super-ranked spirit-level martial skills didn't have a single move. Among them, the Mighty Heaven Sword skill and the Soul-Stirring Fist were both low-ranked spirit-level martial skills. In the whole room, there were a total of 18 low-ranked spirit-level martial skills. There were only 4 moves for middle-ranked spirit-level martial skills, and only 2 moves for high-ranked spirit-level martial skills. There was a note on the stone tablet that middle-ranked spirit-level martial skills were several times more difficult to cultivate than low-ranked spirit-level martial skills. Even the minor-rank martial skills were extremely difficult. No wonder the senior brothers of the Jintian clan used low-ranked spirit-level martial skills, such as the Mighty Heaven Sword skill and the Soul-Stirring Fist. Middle-ranked spirit-level martial skills were not something they could cultivate. Long Yu thought to himself as he looked around the room. He didn't find any spirit-level martial skills that caught his attention. Originally, he wanted to choose a spirit-level martial skill, but now that he had the Wings of the Ghost Valley, he didn't need to rush. Cultivating any martial skill required time, and what Long Yu lacked the most was time. He had to successfully cultivate the second move of the 9 Abyss Dragon Fist, Samsara Awakening Palm. Only then could his strength improve by leaps and bounds. As for high-ranked spirit-level martial skills, the 10,000 Kill Spear, it was used to kill enemies on the battlefield. It was impossible to improve it by just cultivating. He had to kill people and condense his killing intent to improve it. Samsara Awakening Palm is the next move of the Drunken Underworld technique. It is a high-ranked spirit-level martial skill. This move is definitely more difficult to cultivate than all the previous martial skills. Long Yu was mentally prepared. Under such circumstances, there was no need for other spirit-level martial skills. He just carefully observed the effects of all the spirit-level martial skills owned by the Jintian clan, so that he could be prepared to deal with them in the future. This took him the whole afternoon. In the evening, he went down to the second floor of the Elder Pavilion and saw Yu Shuiyin in a black robe. He cupped his fists and bowed. "Elder Yu, I would like to find a quiet place to cultivate. What do you think is the best place?" "Old Bai's place," Yu Shuiyin asked in surprise. Long Yu scratched his head awkwardly. He really did not want to go back to Old Bai's place. Firstly, it was not good to disturb Old Bai. Secondly, Liao Lele seemed to have some feelings for him. To prevent any accidents, it was better to stay away from her. As if she had seen through Long Yu's thoughts, Yu Shuiyin gently smiled. "Then let's go to the bamboo forest at the back of the mountain. It's at the back of the Elder Pavilion's bamboo forest. Your senior brother, Boo, also cultivates there. Thank you, Elder Yu. Long Yu nodded with a smile, turned around, and walked out of the Elder Pavilion toward the bamboo forest behind the mountain. The bamboo forest behind the mountain was a spacious place. Outside the bamboo forest was a very high cliff. At a glance, the clouds rolled by, making it look like a paradise. In the bamboo forest, there were many simple bamboo huts. These were the residences of the true spirit realm experts who cultivated here. Apart from a few core disciples, most of the people here were sect elders. When Long Yu arrived at the bamboo forest behind the mountain, he felt a strong, true spirit aura filling the entire bamboo forest. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.